All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and for waiting patiently, as always, for the intro to finish up. I hope everybody's doing well today, Sunday. Pono says Roblox is screwed. Uh-oh. Irfan, what's going on, man? I'm doing well. Doing well. Boss is doing well, too, as you can see. Neo, what's going on, buddy? 5 p.m. BST. Sunny day in Scotland, says the Universal Gamer. Boss is not late for his shift, let me tell you. He's here right on time. Right on time. William, what's going on, man? Salutations, says William. It's warm weather. Drinking a Coke. Ice. Yeah, getting some rain here apparently today. That's what it says anyway. But yeah, it's been really hot. I think like the upcoming week it's supposed to cool down a little bit, which I'm looking forward to. Because yeah, it's been really, really hot outside. Like so hot that you just kind of don't want to go out. You like that, Chopper? Thank you, buddy. Yeah, Mrs. MEG helped me put that up. Came out really nice. And we have IMAOTO coming in, renewing their membership. Getting it started early today. IMAOTO, thank you so much for that, buddy. You know I appreciate that support. Shout out to any one of you who is a channel member and remains a channel member, you know, pretty much supports the channel and the content month over month. Thank you so much for that, buddy. I will add that to the counter.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And yeah, guys, if you want to support the channel and support the content, you already know how we do it here. Consider becoming a channel member like I am Yodo. My bad. Well, there you go. There's another soundbite for him. I didn't mean to press that one, but no, I got it, Irfan. It's all good, man. It's all good. We made it happen. No, MacTube. Everything's good there too, dude. Yeah, I was a little bit, you know, I was keeping an eye out, but everything's good. Everything's good. All right, boss, let's go chill over here. Really? He rejects it? Really? You're just straight up, he's just backing up. He's like, no. You must. Settle down, boy. Today we're talking about Gamescom. Thank you, Irfan. I appreciate that. We're talking about Gamescom. It actually sounds like Gamescom is going to be pretty huge this year. The past couple of years, I feel like Gamescom has been pretty weak, very underwhelming in some cases, but Jeff Keighley's giving us a list of games that are going to show up, and Ghost of Yote is one of the games that's going to show up at Gamescom this year. Are you serious, dude? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our excitement levels for Gamescom, what games we're excited to see. We're going to be talking about The Last of Us Online and how it kind of lives. I wasn't sure how to title this, but it's not actually The Last of Us. Basically, we have the director who was in charge of The Last of Us Online game, made their own studio, and is essentially making their own kind of Last of Us-esque multiplayer game. And he has another developer he's partnered with that is a veteran at Naughty Dog. And so I wanted to cover this story because I feel like it's kind of going under the radar. But it seems like, you know, these developers, they basically... Ow. Boss, stop that. That hurt, dude. They basically decided that that they want to kind of make their own Last of Us online type multiplayer game or experience. So we're going to talk about that. And there was some confusion over this weekend where apparently there were reports or there was some circulation claiming that Fairgames was canceled, but we are now getting clarification that Fairgames has not been canceled. So there was a little bit of confusion there. But what's really funny is when we get the clarification that Fairgames is not canceled, you know, you see people coming out being like, man, I'm actually disappointed that it wasn't canceled. It's kind of crazy. And I think it really kind of, it makes you hyper aware of how people feel about um about fair games and whatnot. So it's not looking too good. Not looking too good for fair games there. But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for joining me today. Will Silk Song be there? I don't know. I don't know. MBG, I don't blame the show for being great or weak. It all depends on what games are available to be shown. It's not Jeff's fault. At least he's giving us something. I agree. I agree. I have pretty much, or I had like no expectations for Gamescom this year because, like I said, the past couple years, Gamescom has been pretty weak overall. And, I would still stream it, but it's like, okay, But it does seem like maybe the stars have aligned this year a little bit, where there seems to be a lot of publishers and a lot of games ready to be shown, or we're going to get more information on games that have already been announced that we've been waiting to hear more from. Irfan, you're saying you've personally seen enough of Ghost of Yotei, you're just waiting for the release now. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. But it makes sense that Sony's going to want to kind of continue to market it, building up to the release. We haven't seen any Fair Games gameplay. Why do people want it canceled? I don't know, man. I think it's just because the overall aesthetic based off of the CG trailer that we got. Yeah, it's not too great. MBG, the benefit of Fair Games being delayed is that they have time to change the art style, gameplay, and tone if they want to. They already removed the dollar sign. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's interesting how Sony, I'm not so sure that this is even so much that Sony believes in what they're doing, as much as it's just like they're like, listen, we already shut down a brand new studio and shut down a brand new game, live service game. I think Sony is willing to just kind of let Haven Studio just completely rework the game, like you're saying, William, where they're like, listen, we just need something from you guys that's not going to be another Concord. And I don't know. I don't know, man. Apparently the last we heard of Fair Games is there was a play test that was conducted on the PlayStation Network. And, people who play on PlayStation were able to sign an NDA and go hands on with this game and play it. And apparently the feedback was not good. The feedback was not good. And that's when we heard that Jade Raymond left the studio. Yeah, not too long after that. What was that noise? So this kind of tells me that Fair Games might be in some kind of trouble, and you do have to wonder how long Sony is willing to stick with it and actually try to make it work. And keeping it's worth noting that Haven Studio is a studio that's where are they, in Quebec, I think, or something like that, which is an important place, I think, for Sony to be. I could be wrong. I don't know if they're actually in Quebec, but they're essentially like a Ubisoft studio, and Sony, I think, maybe feels it's important to have a studio like that in that area to kind of be able to bring in certain development talent. But I don't know. I feel like when you look at the reveal of Fair Games and you look at that CG trailer, you kind of think to yourself, like pretty much, I don't want to say every single aspect of this game, because like maybe the core gameplay itself, like a kind of heist type game, could be good, but it's like the visuals, the art style, like you're saying, William, like pretty much almost everything surrounding that gameplay needs to change, because how it looked in that 2023 CG trailer, which is the only thing we've seen of the game, no footage of that in that playtest actually leaked. Seems like I don't know. It seems like they're gonna have their work cut out for them, man. They're in Montreal, Quebec. Okay. Thank you, Irfan. Irfan's always there. help me out when I can't keep my stuff straight. You know, you're saying you'll keep your eye out, but right now you're indifferent. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that I have any hope for Fair Games. I know that maybe I'm a little bit on the overly negative side, but I just have a bad feeling. You know, I don't know. The only game at this point that I feel like I have any hope for, they're basically like two games that I have any hope for when it comes to Sony's live service titles. That is the Horizon multiplayer, simply because it's Horizon, and I feel like it stands a chance just because of the name alone. And maybe Dark Outlaw Games, which is Jason Blundell's studio. Just because I'm very familiar with Call of Duty Zombies, and he did a really good job with that, and he has good experience. So, oh, and Marvel Tokon, I keep forgetting that game, but that one I think will be a surefire success. Yeah. So, where does Fair Games sit with all of this? Well, I mean, for just to kind of, I guess, start with this topic, Michael Pachter, who people don't take seriously at all, but there were like multiple reports that Michael Pachter in a recent episode of his, I guess, podcast that he does, he was talking about Sony's live service efforts, and he just like was saying how like Jade Raymond left and Fair Games was canceled. So the reports were circulating that, oh, well, okay, well, this is like insider information. Apparently, it's news to us. It was canceled, but he did come out and correct himself, and he was saying that he misspoke and that he doesn't know if it's canceled. He was just assuming because Jade Raymond left that it was canceled, but he wasn't like confirming anything. So that's where the confusion came from. And we have a PlayStation Pete with a $5 chat saying, went to an ex-boss's funeral. She hired me when I moved to Florida in 2004. It's just me and my cat now. Everyone else is gone. Damn, PlayStation Pete. That's such a sad super chat, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, you have us, PlayStation Pete, right? You have your cat and you have us. I know it's not the same. But I'm trying to, I don't know, I'm just trying to throw any positive vibe I can your way, bud. That's rough. Yeah. It's tough out here, man. It's tough out here. A lot of people going through struggle. Yeah, very sorry to hear that. But well, hey man, I'll keep streaming as much as I can. And hopefully you'll be able to continue to hang out with us. PlayStation Pete gets better, right? Right? But I do appreciate the super chat, man. Yeah, we got to send PlayStation Pete some positive vibes, guys. And we have Gordon Jelson, a member for 21 months, who says, Young MBG, you should download PCX2 and do a PS2 stream of your favorite games from the era. Just got it myself and wonder why I didn't do it sooner. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not too familiar with this. PCSX2. The idea streaming some of my favorite PS2 games would be an interesting prospect. There's so many, and I've probably forgotten some. Um, yeah, I've only heard of RPCS3, like that's the PS3 emulator. I'll think about it. I mean, I'm not going to make any promises, and I'm going to be honest with you, Gordon. There's a high chance I won't, because there's so much other stuff I need to play right now on my PS5. Um, but but yeah, it's something I'll try to keep in the back of my mind. Yeah, I know, Devil Shooter. You've been trying, bro. You've been trying. I'll think about it. Can be slightly tedious to set up and configure the controller stuff, but it's worth it. Maybe a member only stream, PS2 emulation. Yeah, we could definitely think about it. I mean, at some point, I'll probably be thinking of more unique content ideas. Eventually, use EPSX E4 PS1 emulation upscaling. That emulator is awesome. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever I don't know that I've ever dabbled in any of this. It requires me to do stuff on my PC, and I don't want to. Don't make me do stuff. Don't make me do stuff, bro. No, but I'll think about it. I guess it would depend on. I'm assuming you don't have every PS2 game. I feel like that'd be impossible. But it depends on what PS2 games they do have. It's easier to buy a PS2 with an HDMI mini or an HDMI adapter. That'd be funny. Yeah, I guess that is one way to do it. That is one way to do it. I actually have like I don't know if it still works. I think it's in the closet. I have a PlayStation 1. It's actually Mrs. MBG's. Well, it was actually her dad's, and they gave it to me. I haven't used it, I haven't messed with it, but yeah, an OG PS1 from 1994. It's like the big one too, not even the slim one. Devil Shooter, you're saying you can link me a website that has all the PS2 games? All right. Well, if it's something I ever try out, Devil Shooter, I know you're the guy to go to for that. Sparky Nut says, no, it is not easier to buy a PS2. I got a PS2 emulator set up on my phone in 30 minutes. I was blown away. It was so simple. Played God of War and MGS. Playing the God of War games is somewhat tantalizing because I did want to go play the original God of War games, but you have to do it through streaming for God of War 1 and 2. I don't know why Sony hasn't done a collection yet. I do not know why Sony hasn't done a collection yet. It doesn't make any sense. There's so many classic PlayStation games that Sony could just bring up. Harlem Gamer, what's up, man? IBG, I use HDMI adapter for PS2 and GameCube. My local game store sells tons of those. But Chris says emulators are dope also. Is MGS3 actually MGS1 chronologically? I mean, like, technically, yeah, MGS3 is a prequel. So it's like what starts everything. I'm seeing people start to talk about whether or not Konami's going to remake Metal Gear Solid 1 now that we're approaching the release of MGS3 remake. But I think the reality is if they're going to remake Metal Gear Solid 1, it's going to, I think it's going to take a lot more, I think it's going to take a lot more work and effort. There's a lot more that's going to need to be done. MGS3, I feel like they're playing it pretty safe. Maybe they want to see how it goes first. Yeah, MGS3, that's true, William. MGS3 comes before the SNES games, the original Metal Gear titles. I've always said I would like to see the original 2 Metal Gear games, Metal Gear 1 and 2. I've always said I would love to see those games, like, not even remade, but just reimagined, But I feel like that's, how do you do something like that without bringing Kojima in? I feel like most Metal Gear fans would end up rejecting that, truthfully. Would I say that MGS4 is the best? I mean, I love Metal Gear Solid 4. It's one of my all-time favorite games. It's hard to say if it's the best, though. I mean, all the Metal Gear games, like the mainline Metal Gear games, they're all so good. I feel like, you could kind of put MGS 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. And I mean, 5 from a story perspective, I think is lacking a little bit, but you think they're probably working on a God of War collection right now? I hope so. Imagine the jump from SNES to PS6 graphics for the OG Metal Gear remake, bro. It's kind of unfathomable, It's legitimately hard to imagine what that would look like. But that'd be sick, man. That would be sick. I do feel, though, that, like, after Metal Gear Solid 3 releases, assuming it does well, I think it's going to do well. I mean, truthfully, what they're probably going to do next is go to Metal Gear Solid 1. I feel like that's the trajectory. Is it confirmed that Leon is in Resident Evil 9? I was thinking, what if it's not Leon and someone else? Well, all of the rumors right now are claiming it's Leon. We've had zero rumors or leaks or anything about any other character. and the developers even name dropped Leon. So do you think Konami would ever outsource Metal Gear Solid similar to Silent Hill for a new installment? I mean, God, I don't know. That's so risky. Outsource it to Kojima Productions. There you go. There you go, Konami. Easy win. Yeah, I played more of the Battlefield 6 beta. It's good, man. It's good. Did you guys see that report that just came out that apparently EA wants to annualize Battlefield now? Or at least in like the next 4 to 5 years. They're hoping to get to a point where they're annualizing it like Call of Duty. I mean, I knew that they were trying to compete with Call of Duty. I didn't think that they were striving to, literally emulate it that way. You're going to wait for Delta's price to come down? What if the game is called Metal Gear Solid 6 Fizzant? Yo. Chris says, thanks for killing my hype instantly, MBG. You're welcome. That's why I'm here, bro. I got you. People are not liking Season 5 of Black Ops 6. They're not. Well, I mean, my guess is that we're about to see the reveal of Black Ops 7. I mean, what is this, the last season they're doing before the new game comes out? It's probably the weakest. Went from hype man to hype killer. Would I say MGS5 is in the top 3 best MGS games? Gameplay-wise, absolutely. Gameplay-wise, I think there's an argument that MGS5 is the best. MGS4's gameplay is really good, though, too. It'd be crazy if somehow they made a deal with Sony and Konami. And Kojima was struck and Fizzant really... Well, there were rumors of that. But those rumors were years ago. But there were rumors that like Sony was trying to make something happen. That Sony was trying to bridge create a bridge for Konami and Kojima. But I don't know, man. It is interesting when you think about it. Like Fizzant does sound... It pretty much does sound like Metal Gear Solid, but I don't think it's going to be something like a secret deal was struck or anything like that. Mainly because I think Kojima, he wants to create a stealth action game in the vein of Metal Gear Solid, but he wants to make sure that that Kojima Productions has full ownership of it. I think Kojima would reject anything regarding Metal Gear Solid just because at the end of the day, Konami will own it. And with Fizzant, Sony might own it for like the first 5 years or something, but then it gets transferred over to Kojima Productions. But yeah, I don't think Kojima's going to want to deal with anything like that again. I think he wants to be in full ownership of all their IP. And that makes sense, Kojima worked for Konami for, almost his entire career. And, once he was gone, so was Metal Gear. So he wants to make sure that his team doesn't have to deal with that in the future. But yeah, Fizzant is definitely going to be... I think Fizzant is going to be that complete reimagining. I said reimaginization. That's not a word. Reimagining. It'll be a complete reimagining of Metal Gear Solid in a sense. I don't think it's going to be like a remake of, We don't know. We don't know how much it's going to pull from Metal Gear Solid, but I have a feeling it's going to be very similar in some ways. But did you see what Tati Gabriel said about Intergalactic? She's just making things worse, bro. No, what'd she say? That's the actress who's playing the main character in Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. Uh-oh. What'd she say now? What did she say, bro? Do I want to know? MBG, there are a lot of people in the chat who are legitimately excited for Fairgames. I feel bad we keep being negative. Dude, I've witnessed this before, man. Guys, do not be excited for Fairgames. I'm sorry. Like, I am trying to kill your hope here. Um, just because like it could be great, let it be great. If it's going to be great, let it be great. If it's going to be good, let it be good. But after what happened with Concord, man, hmm, I don't know. Don't risk it. Don't risk it. All I saw her say was she took the hate she was getting and turned it into fuel for the performance, and that the haters will love the game. Is that what she said? The haters will love the game. You'll love it. Hmm. Yeah. Well, if that's actually what she said, that's not bad. I don't think it's true, but you know, I mean, it's interesting to me that like she didn't realize potentially, like she didn't realize that this game was going to get hate. Surely she had to have some awareness, you know. But I'm not sure. I think y'all want to not like this game. Are people? Yeah, I don't know if people are mad at that, Chris. I don't know. That is a wild thing to get mad at. She told me I love this game. No, no. Now I'm even angrier. Fairgames is yet another live service game. It's going to be slop. I have no hype, bro. Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I have no idea. Dude, there was so much. I remember there was like interviews being done about Fairgames, similar to Concord, and there was so much. Like Sony was hyping it up so much. MBG, I hate these non-gamers complaining about what an actor says. They need to shut up and get out of the hobby. They don't even play games. They just want to be part of a conversation. Don't give these people time. Oh yeah, I know, dude. It's everywhere. It was so crazy. Like, dude, I saw PlayStation posting about Ghost of Yote and on Twitter, and I went to go check the replies, and it's insane. It's just pure insanity where it's like, guys, what are you doing? Like they're hating so much and they're still screaming the woke stuff. And it's like, oh, give me a fucking break, man. You know? Like I don't it should be clear by this point that like people people just want it. They want to just continue to they get enjoyment out of hating things. And I mean, I feel like that's kind of obvious, but it's like it just like that should tell you what type of person they are. Where they can't stop hating on something. I mean, just like obsessively. Like that's all it is. Every chance they get. That's all it is. It defines them. It's their personality. Like think about the kind of character, you know. What does that say about their character? What does that say about their personality? Like, bro, I understand if you see something and you're like, man, I hate this. This sucks. That's fine. I think, maybe you say it twice, maybe three times, you know? But I think if I were to like do a deeper psychological analysis, I think a lot of these people deep down, like they want to know why. They want it, like they don't understand it. That's why they're drawn to it. I think that's what it is. Because I think anybody who identifies what it is they don't like about something and they're like, yeah, I don't like that. This sucks. You only want to stick around it for so long until it's like you move on. I feel like the people who stick around are just like kind of they're obsessed. They're obsessed with like something they don't understand. And there's this kind of like yearning that you can like it feels like it kind of comes through where it's like you could tell like they're bothered that they don't understand and they want to understand. Um that's what I pick up on sometimes anyway. I just feel like, yeah, man, I don't know. Like do some soul searching. I don't know what to tell you. But they're upset at the world and put that towards anything they see as wrong. They need help. Well, that's what I mean, man. I mean, I get it. There's a lot I don't understand either. And the things I don't understand, I tend to think about the most because I want to understand them. But we're not going to understand everything. We don't have to accept everything either. It's just crazy to me. Like, people were so hyped for Ghost of Tsushima, and people are acting like Sucker Punch like pissed in their Cheerios, man. You know? They're acting like this game straight up you know, did them wrong. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, like, you see people with this, even if we're looking past like the woke shit, they're like, these animations look the same, man. Like, bro, it's a fucking sequel. Like, what are you talking about? You know? The enemy AI seems stupid. Like, dude, it's a 40-second cinematic gameplay snippet. It's all choreographed. Like, they probably have it on the easiest difficulty. I guarantee you go play Ghost of Yotei on the hardest difficulty, it ain't gonna look like that. You're gonna get fucked up. It's not, and that's the truth, right? Is that, like, you see a lot of people commenting, and it's like, you don't play games. You don't play games. You're not playing this game, and you're just bandwagoning. You know, you probably like you probably don't even play Ghost of Tsushima. They don't even know how to turn on a console. Chris says, I'm just here to play games, man. Ray, what's going on, dude? That's what I'm saying. We just got to play games. I'm not saying, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be criticism. There should be. Like, listen, my assumption is that, like, my feeling going into Ghost of Yotei is I believe from a gameplay perspective, I'm going to enjoy it just as much, if not even more, than I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima from a gameplay side. From a story side, and I've talked about this, I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy the story as much. I'm not sure if I'm going to like Atsu as much as a character as I did Jin, and that's okay. That's totally fine. As long as I don't hate her and hate the story, as long as it's not like something I walk away from, I'm like, that was bad. As long as it's not that, I'm not going to be upset. I can appreciate Sucker Punch trying to do something different, but yeah, I can't deny Ghost of Tsushima was an incredible game, and so far everything I've seen of Yotei looks very good too. It looks like it's going to be just as incredible potentially. But yeah, it's just disheartening to see people acting so ridiculous and nonsensical over something like this. Where it's like, I don't understand, man. Perfect Image, what's going on, man? Chris, you're saying people just bitch and complain anymore. That's the normal social media anymore. People rather shit on everything all the time. They're so angry. I have a theory. I think people are also just bored. Honestly, like, I think people just don't know what else to do. Like, I think that they used to like stuff and now they don't like it anymore, or they used to be more into something and they're not into it as much anymore. And so, like, the alternative is to just kind of, again, be angry and salty and bitchy about it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's always been this way. MEG, if Sony's not going to be at Gamescom, then we're going to see the trailer for Saros they promised this year, Game Awards. Well, Sony is going to be at Gamescom, actually. Jeff Keighley just casually revealed that Ghost of Yotei is going to be at Gamescom. So I'm assuming we're going to get like another story trailer for Ghost of Yotei. That's my guess. I think we're going to get a story trailer, or it could be like another gameplay trailer mixed with some story. Yeah, so they're going to be part of Opening Night Live. They're not going to be part of the show floor. Like, there isn't going to be like demos or anything that people can play. When it comes to Saros, I mean, honestly, I'm thinking September. That's my guess. I'm thinking it's going to be Saros gameplay reveal September. Could they save it for the? I mean, I don't think that they would save a gameplay reveal for the Game Awards. I feel like we don't really see gameplay reveals that often at the Game Awards. I feel like the Game Awards are focused on like new announcements and surprise announcements. I'm thinking Saros is going to be at the next State of Play, and I do believe the next State of Play is going to be in September. But yeah, Resident Evil 9 is going to be part of Gamescom, And I'll actually give you a quick rundown of the list. Jeff Keighley posted yesterday, or 2 days ago, actually, games confirmed for Gamescom opening night live, the Tuesday show: Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Resident Evil 9 Requiem, Ghost of Yotei, Ninja Gaiden 4, The Outer Worlds 2, Silent Hill F, World of Warcraft Midnight, plus more, plus Fallout Season 2 and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 music performance. So, yeah, prior to this tweet, we didn't know that Ghost of Yotei. We didn't even know that Sony was going to be at Gamescom. So I mean, I got to be honest. Like, going into Gamescom, knowing we're getting another look at Ghost of Yotei and more Resident Evil 9, it's already a good show for me. Truthfully, it's already a good show for me. So anything else that shows up beyond that is just extra and just making it even better. Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited for Ninja Gaiden 4. We could see Intergalactic at the Game Awards this year. Yeah, it was revealed at the Game Awards last year. Dude, if we get a Resident Evil 9 demo, that's going to be sick. That's going to be so awesome. I mean, they've made that a thing, right? Like, Capcom's been putting out a lot of demos for Resident Evil games over the years. You're saying, I wonder what kind of Yotei content will be shown at Gamescom. Well, Jeff Keighley did post a hype trailer today for Gamescom, and it started with Ghost of Yotei. And it was the main character, Atsu, saying that she's looking for someone, or she's looking for the Yotei 6. And I mean, that tells me that there's going to be like that tells me that there's going to be a story trailer. That's what I'm expecting. Which would make sense because they focused on the gameplay. They did a state of play showing everything gameplay wise. I feel like the only thing that we need to kind of figure out now is like, all right, well, what else is going on with the game, the story, right? Yeah, there's been rumors of a Black Myth Wukong DLC, possibly a Shadow Drop, a new DualSense. I don't know about that. I mean, I could see Marvel Tokon showing up as well potentially. There's been rumors of Silent Hill 2 DLC. I mean, there's is Ghost of Yotei the only thing that Sony could be showing up with? Maybe. Helldivers could show up, although if it does, it'll be for Xbox, like another Xbox trailer or something like that. Nate Fox said that they want to focus on the campaign during launch. So Legends 2.0 would be unlikely, or a Legends 2.0 reveal would be unlikely. Yeah, if we get a Legends 2 reveal, that I think will come sometime after launch. Yeah, like a month or something like that. Chris says he's not watching any more Ghost of Yotei trailers. What Resident Evil remake do I want? Well, apparently the next remake is going to be Code Veronica X. I mean, that sounds promising. Like, I mean, apparently the team that worked on Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 is doing the Code Veronica remake, and that sounds very promising to me. What's up, Luna? You think they canceled Wolverine? No, I don't think so. I don't think they canceled Wolverine. If they did, I feel like we would definitely have heard about that. Oh, yeah, that's right. Last year, Indiana Jones was announced for PS5 at Gamescom. That's crazy. Wow. Why does that feel like it was so long ago? Yeah, yeah. There's a Ghost of Tsushima Legends anime that's in development. So, I mean, you would have to assume that, like, that's an indicator they're absolutely going to continue Ghost of Tsushima Legends or Ghost Legends, right? You'll cry yourself to sleep if Wolverine is canceled. There's no way it's canceled. I don't think so. You think it could be being worked on as a multi-plat game? Interesting. Interesting. But you're saying MBG, no lost souls aside hype. Sony giving up. Am I crazy? No, lost soul aside. I mean, I don't think it's getting a big marketing push because I don't think it has a big marketing budget. Honestly, um, I think it looks like it's going to do okay. I have seen people expressing hype and excitement for Lost Soul Aside, and it's a game that I think has potential to do well, but I'm just not sure. I really do feel like it's releasing at a bad time. I'm going to be honest. Well, I don't want to say there's zero marketing. They've been releasing some trailers on the PlayStation YouTube channel showing off the weapons and some gameplay, and those trailers have been getting a lot of views. But like, yeah, it does seem like the marketing budget is very, very low. And so I don't know, man. I kind of have this feeling that if anything ends up hurting Lost Soul Aside, it's going to be the time that it's releasing. I really feel that way. I feel like Lost Soul Aside is a game that if it dropped during like a quieter, less busy time, it would leave more breathing room for people to kind of, take a look at it and consider it. But it's releasing, I think, like it's releasing the last week of August alongside a bunch of other titles and leading into other titles even the week after. I think it's releasing on August 26th or 29th, one of those days. So I don't know, man. I am a little bit nervous about this game, but I think it looks good. I don't know if that's going to be a day one purchase for me because I'm going to be playing Metal Gear, and at the rate I'm going, I'm still going to be trying to platinum Death Stranding. So and there are other titles I want to play too, like Silent Hill and whatnot. So I don't know, man. Because it does look like it's going to be good, but we'll see how it reviews. XS says I'm excited for it, but the marketing is kind of low key. Maybe Sony's kind of hoping it'll get that like natural marketing, that organic marketing where it's just like word of mouth. Maybe maybe they are confident in it. I don't know. Maybe it's like, yeah, we're confident it'll review well. I'm not sure. If I'm being totally honest, I feel like Sony just wants to get this game out. That like they just want to be done with it. And I know that sounds rude, and I don't think it's because it's a bad game or anything like that, but we have to understand that this game was in development for like 10 years. And I think Sony they're like, all right, well, we committed to publishing it. And I don't think that it's going to be bad. I just think it's like they're tired. Like we've seen this game to the finish line. We just want to get it out and move on, and we hope I think it's made by one person, right? Like it's a game that's made by like one person or a very, very, very small team of just like a few people. So I don't think it needs to do crazy numbers to break even or to make a profit, I would assume. But then again, I don't know how much money was dumped into it. If it was in development for more than 10 years, one very tired person, dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe everybody involved is just tired. They're just like, come on. They're like, come on, bro. We just got to be done with it. We got to release it. And hopefully it's worth the wait. I've seen a lot of people who they remember when this game was announced. They're excited to see it finally coming out. So there are people who are excited for Lost Soul Aside. You think Halo will get announced after Helldivers 2 gets dropped for Xbox? You think Lost Soul Aside should be cheaper? If it was cheaper, it'd probably have a better chance of doing, better numbers. I think that's safe to say. We'll see. I mean, I am curious to see how it reviews, but he started out developing it solo, but there's a small team now. Okay. MBG, did Xbox win the console war? No. Xbox lost the console war. Although I don't know, at this rate, maybe everybody won, right? PlayStation has the most units sold for a high-end premium console. Nintendo obviously won with the Switch 1. And I would say Xbox lost, but Sony's giving Xbox one of their biggest games now, and that will help their console. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that anybody really truly lost, you know. I mean, but if we're like actually looking at numbers, I think it's safe to say that Xbox, you know, they did the worst. Um, X Irvin says Xbox got decimated. Do I think the Switch 2 will outsell the PS5? Yeah, I do. I do. I wonder. I mean, I would love to know that too. Did Forza sell more on PlayStation than it did on Xbox? That would be crazy. I don't know. I don't know that we have the numbers for how well it sold on Xbox. But I mean, dude, it's the number one best-selling game on PlayStation this year. So it wouldn't be like that crazy to think, right? Chris, you're saying Xbox did lose, but Microsoft publishing is thriving. Yeah, I saw that Mafia is doing pretty well. That's a game I would like to get around to playing. Um, Apparently it did pretty well on PlayStation too, which is good to hear. Dude, it's taking so long to platinum Death Stranding 2. I have no idea how long it's going to take me to get to that, you know? I think Mafia actually sold less than 1 million. I saw a report said like 800,000 units or something like that. But I mean, it is a cheaper game. It's a lower budget title, so I don't know like how many units they need to sell to break even, or make, you know, for it to be profitable. I don't think it's like 3 or 4 or 5 million or anything like that. Maybe like 1.5 million, something along those lines. Yeah, it's a shorter game. Your friend bought Mafia and beat it in like 2 days and is already selling it on Facebook for 30. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. Yeah. Bond wants Windows to be the best place to play. They showed their hand. Yeah. Yeah. Old Country was a DLC ripoff? Bro, what? No way. No. No, 50 hours, or sorry, $50 for 10 to 12 hours. Come on. Are you serious? Really? You'll play Mafia in 2 years when it's $15? Oh my God, you guys are being savage to Mafia right now. It looks pretty good to me. Well, I don't know, though. I don't know. People are very particular these days, you know? They're very particular. You think the Mafia hate seems forced? Half of those hours you weren't even doing mafioso stuff. Is Resident Evil 9 going to be a Last of Us 2 gameplay style? Apparently, it's going to take cues from it. Yeah. That's what we're hearing. You think AAA should be $50? No, that's never going to happen. No way. Bro, Nick. Yo, is Mafia slop or is it super slop? Like, what? Bro, what? Yeah, no, AAA games will definitely never go back to being $50. I kind of have started the topics. Yeah, I'm just kind of blending the topics into our discussion as we go along. No, I never did. I never did play any of the other Mafia games, and the fact that this is a prequel makes me feel like, you know, maybe I'd be okay starting here. Oh, excuse me, hiccups for some reason. Saying you're interested in Old Country, but you're being a bit choosy where you spend your money. Mr. B says he's addicted to Battlefield 6. Start with Mafia 2 remastered. I see you guys saying Mafia 2 is the best one. Comparing Mafia to Mind's Eye is insane. What's wrong with some of my viewers, man? What's wrong with some of the chat? What are these guys talking about? MBG, you don't have to do the platinum for Death Stranding 2. And we have Will Hancock coming in. Will, thank you so much,
Thank
buddy.
you. Appreciate it.
Sorry if that echoes. He comes in, he drops a single member gift on you guys. Really appreciate that, buddy. Thank you for the support. And you know how we do. If we get to 25, we'll feed the beast. You think Mafia 1 remake is greater than Mafia 2 remastered? Well, where do you think they go now after this one? Just turn the movie Casino into a game and boom, there you go. Damn, bro. A lot of people really didn't like Mafia 3, apparently. They felt like they made a big mistake making it open world. Yeah, Hangar 13 they're pretty much the Mafia studio now. I think they have been for a little while. Mafia in the 80s would be interesting. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I think like Mafia 3 was set in the 60s, right? And like Mafia 1 and 2 were like the 30s and 40s. Is Gamescom opening night live 2 hours like Summer Game Fest? I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's like a 2-hour show. All of Jeff Keighley's shows are pretty much 2 hours minimum. Mafia 3 was hot when it came out. No, I haven't tried Dune Wars. MBG, I can't find soft cat treats in my local area. All the brands are just hard. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. I don't know what to say about that. Keep searching, I guess. Speaking of cat treats, here comes Boss. We have a perfect image with a direct donation. Thank you, buddy. He says, looking at PlayStation Move, it sucks coming out of my mouth. What? Yo, perfect image. What is? Hold on now. I'm not sure what you just said. He he says we're no longer in a console war. It's the platform wars, which is better than the other. We're in the end game. I understand everything else you said, perfect image. I don't understand the first sentence. I wrote right. Looking at PlayStation Move, it sucks. Do you guys see Boss right now? Like, bro, come on. Please, Boss, please chill, man. Digital Dude, you're saying MBG, I haven't been on Twitter since I deleted it a few weeks ago. Why does Gamescom sound huge this year? So it sounds huge this year because it sounds like there's actually going to be a lot of good stuff or good games shown. Jeff Keighley confirmed that Ghost of Yotei is going to be there. I'll read the list one more time. So he says, Tuesday, watch Gamescom opening night live. Here's the hype trailer I edited. A new look at this holiday's biggest games. New game announcements. Fallout Season 2 news. Music performance for Clair Obscura Expedition 33. But he also listed all the games. So far, these are the games that are confirmed. Black Ops 7, Resident Evil 9, Ghost of Yotei, Ninja Gaiden 4, The Outer Worlds 2, Silent Hill F, and World of Warcraft Midnight, plus more. So, I'm not trying to overhype it, but it does sound like it's going to be better this year. Because the way it's been previously is just not good. Not great. This compulsion to platinuming is just bringing you stress. Just move on to the Liza P DLC. I can't do it, MacTube. Don't you understand? Don't you understand? I can't just not. To be honest, I would have moved on from the Death Stranding 2 Platinum, but the reason I can't now is because I'm too far in. I definitely can't. It's one of these things where, like, once I start something, I don't have to finish it. I could move on. But once I start something and then dump a decent amount of time into it, it's like I can't stop now. In a world of no gaming news, any news is great. Garrett, you're 2 hours away from platinuming Death Stranding. Good shit, dude. Bro still hasn't finished Rebirth. Shh, 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 shh. Quiet, Irvin. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. What if they released a Black Ops 7 beta this weekend? That'd be kind of funny. Oh yeah, they're probably going to do something like that. Carl, you went back to Ragnarok. Good stuff, bro. Petrov, you're saying you're stuck MBG. See you next year. All right, well, check this out. I'm going to read this article. So, VGC is reporting the director of the canceled online spinoff Last of Us multiplayer says that he launched a new studio in Japan to make something similar. Vinit Agarwal, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, who was at Naughty Dog for around a decade, was the game director on what was known internally as The Last of Us Online. But after the project was scaled back in size, the developer eventually announced in December that it had been canceled. Now, in a new interview with GameSpark, Agarwal has said that he and former Naughty Dog creative director Joe Pettinato, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, have formed a new studio because they want to create something similar. Specifically, he explained that he wanted to make a multiplayer game that offers the level of action found in a typical single-player Naughty Dog game. My main titles were Uncharted 4: Thief's End, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and The Last of Us Part 2, Agarwal said. I worked on both multiplayer and single player. I was mainly in charge of boss battles, and Naughty Dog's boss battles are generally one-on-one situations, so I wanted players to feel like they were fighting a human player, not an AI, even in single player. To be more specific, I worked on the final boss in A Thief's End and the fight between Ellie and Abby in The Last of Us Part 2. I used all of my knowledge of multiplayer to create that feeling that you were fighting a human. A big part of what inspired me to go independent was seeing the potential in combining Naughty Dog's specialty, cinematic action, with multiplayer. Vinit Agarwal has opened an office in Japan, while Joe Pettiani has remained in the US, with their game being developed across both bases. The team currently has around 10 staff in total, with plans to increase to around 30. Their new game, which Agarwal describes as a triple indie title, has now been in development for a few months, and while it isn't yet ready to show to the public, he says he's playing it with friends every week. There's not much we can say yet, but the new game is a multiplayer game, and we aim to bring the cinematic action we've been familiar with from our previous titles to multiplayer. We're already in contact with partners, and we expect to have more information to share in the future. Naughty Dog officially canceled The Last of Us Online in December of 2023, saying the game became so ambitious that it would have required a complete shift in the studio's focus for the foreseeable future. So this is very interesting to me because, you know, anybody who's been following the channel for a while, you know how devastated I was to find out that the Last of Us multiplayer game was canceled. This was easily one of my most excited, most anticipated titles. One of the titles I was most excited about, and I was following it for years. And Naughty Dog just announced kind of out of the blue, like, it's done. We're canceling it after like 4 years or 5 years of development. And what's interesting is that this person, Vinit and Joe, they were the ones working on this multiplayer game. And we had heard that they left once it was canceled. And everything we heard about the Last of Us multiplayer game before it was canceled was good. Everybody who played it said it was awesome. All the rumblings said it was like, this is going to be a big one. But the reason it was canceled is because Naughty Dog was like, we don't want to be a live service studio. And so it's interesting to me that the team responsible for making that now canceled title basically said we're going to make our own studio now, and essentially took everything we did for that game and make our own game. And pretty much, you know, I don't want to say that this is going to be The Last of Us Online, but it kind of feels like this is going to be The Last of Us Online to a degree. I don't know how similar it will be in terms of aesthetic, if it will look like The Last of Us, if it will play like The Last of Us. Like, you know, I, I, I do need to remind everybody that, or emphasize, not remind, but emphasize that he says, you know, they're like a 10-person team. They're ramping up to 30. So he's calling it triple indie. So it's not a triple A game. It's like somewhere between indie and triple A, which I guess that would be like double A, but I almost read it as if they're calling it triple indie, it's an independent team striving for triple A ambition in terms of like how it's presented and how it looks and how it plays. But I'm very curious about this. I'm very, very curious about this. The Last of Us Online won't do well because you know what happened to Joel and Abby issues. Yeah. It's not going to be anything close to The Last of Us factions. Well, I am prepared for it to be nothing like it, but I don't know. They like apparently they're saying like, yeah, we're making something similar. So I don't know. You have to imagine that this team was devastated when they found out their game was canceled. You know? I mean, they put 4 to 5 years of work into it and it was almost done. And they, Naughty Dog and Sony just pulled the plug. So I wouldn't listen. I don't want to read too much into it. It's hard not to, but I do wonder if maybe this is just one of these things where they're like, listen, um, we're just going to make it anyway. It's not going to literally be The Last of Us. It's not going to replicate that. They're not going to just rip it off. We see what Sony will sue the shit out of them. But I just wonder if when they reveal this game, it's going to be like it's a post-apocalyptic, multiplayer title where you're surviving and there's going to be brutal action, cinematic action, like I just can't help but feel that that's what they're going to do. I think this team, look, what I'm trying to say here is I think this team is going to try to deliver what was going to be The Last of Us Online with just a different name and a slightly different look and maybe a smaller scope. Maybe a smaller scope. Something like 33 Immortals. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that game. I'm not too familiar with it. 33 Immortals survivor type. You think Naughty Dog is lying, Chris Brown? This game was basically too good and ambitious to release. Come on now. It probably sucked and they won't admit it. Hold on. Sorry about that. What was the last thing I read? Oh, Chris, you were saying that you don't believe what Naughty Dog said. Um, you think maybe the game was like mid and well, I don't know. I don't know. I have a difficult time believing that The Last of Us multiplayer was going to be anything less than great. Just because the blueprint and the template is already there. You know what I mean? Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. All right. Damn cats. I mean, the blueprint is already there, you know? Like they did make Last of Us multiplayer before and people liked it. But I don't know. Like the craziest thing to me about the development of the Last of Us multiplayer game and, the fact that it was canceled, the craziest thing to me is they made a whole new open world area. And I think that I don't know when we're going to learn more about everything that went into the Last of Us multiplayer. Eventually we're going to hear about it though. But I think people forget that one of the big things that was confirmed is that they basically made San Francisco and they showed concept art and it was clear that this was going to be like an open world division-esque style title. And so much of what this game was going to be in terms of the combat, the mechanics, the assets were already built, and so it was just a matter of realizing how big you want it to be and how far you want it to go. But I do believe Naughty Dog when they say that they wanted to cancel it because they didn't want to become a live service studio. I do believe them. And the only thing that I am surprised by is that Sony didn't find a different solution. That Sony wasn't like, okay, well, you guys wrap up development and we'll find another studio to become basically a Last of Us Online support studio. I mean, shit, dude. Think about, I'm not saying this would have been a better outcome for Bluepoint, but think about this. Knowing that Bluepoint has been a support studio for multiple years, helping with games like God of War Ragnarok, knowing that they were then tasked with making a live service God of War game that was canceled, I mean, shit, why not just make Bluepoint you know, the Last of Us Online support studio? They'll be the ones to do it. It'd be more productive than anything they've done the last 5 or 6 years, or not 6 years, but like last 5 years. I'm just saying, like, I mean, that would have been a sad outcome for Bluepoint as well. But I'm just saying that this game, Sony could have found a way. So maybe there is some level of truth to what you're saying, Chris. I don't know. It would be interesting if a playable build of this like leaked or some shit, or not playable, but like gameplay leaked, and it just looked ass. That would explain everything. That would be like, oh, well, there you go. No, I love Bluepoint games, man. I don't know what Bluepoint's doing right now. I have no idea. All I know is that they were working on a multiplayer live service God of War game, and now, you know, now it was canceled, and so I don't know. No, I believe there were some people who were saying that what they were hearing about the Last of Us multiplayer that it was coming together really well and it was turning out very good. And Neil Druckmann seemed excited about it. He seemed enthusiastic and everything he said about it was promising. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not The only thing I know is that Naughty Dog is one of the most mismanaged studios this generation. And it's very sad because, I'm not trying to take anything away from Naughty Dog. I just think, yeah, dude, Irfan, that's another. This is why I'm saying we're going to have to hear the story about The Last of Us multiplayer because, dude, they hired the creator of the Fortnite Battle Pass to figure out monetization for this game. Believe me when I tell you, like they were all in, bro. Like that's crazy. You know how expensive that guy probably was to get the creator of the Battle Pass for Fortnite. God, what the hell? So I don't know, man. I just feel like Naughty Dog was severely mismanaged. Uh, I understand why it wouldn't make sense to release a multiplayer game such as The Last of Us Online and not make it a live service. I understand and accept at this point that that just doesn't make sense. You don't do that. You don't release a multiplayer game to just have it die in a couple months, especially one that you spent 5 years building. You don't do that. I just still don't understand why there wasn't some kind of alternative option. I don't understand why it was just axe it, just kill it, pretend it never even happened. And then that's the thing is they lost a lot of people that were working on it. they left the studio, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, I'm not sure. Maybe Sony gave him an ultimatum. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe Sony was just like, guys, you're either gonna like, we want you supporting this game, or you know, I don't know. Something went horribly wrong, and I just, I still don't I still don't quite understand like why we're in a world where Fair Games exists and is seemingly still coming out, but The Last of Us Online was just like, nah, bro, nah. Oh, I see Silent Spartan in the chat. He's saying I'm looking a little soft. I'm gonna have to get the reps in. Uh oh. Uh oh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like having trouble maintaining size of my biceps, bro. I don't know what's going on. No matter how many reps I do. And there he is. Silent membership monster Spartan coming in. I knew the moment I saw him say that. I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to drop the 50 bomb on you guys. Silent Spartan, thank you so much, man. He comes in once again. He says, not only will I start the member train, I will be the member train. Bro just drops 50 member gifts on you guys. W's in the chat.
Hey, hello to
Okay, well, apparently you're getting a Helldivers 2 soundbite in there too, Silent Spartan. Good shit, bro. Good shit. Well, now I gotta do reps at the end of the stream. Am I muted? Did that not come through? Say my name, member train. Now I'm just trying to make sure I'm not muted. Okay. Thanks a lot, Chris. Chris is trying to throw me off, bro. Well, good shit. Good shit. Silent Spartan just comes in once again, drops a 50 bomb on you guys, brings us to 52 members. So he just once again single-handedly annihilated 2 goals. And boss,
Boasty, read me. It's time to feed the beast.
God knows he's been waiting. Here we go, man. Enjoy, dude. Silent Spartan, once again, thank you so much for the support, bro. You have been, I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore about the level of consistency that you've been showing in terms of supporting the channel, the community. I mean, just constantly coming in here, dropping 50 member gifts at a time. It's been truly, I mean, more helpful and beneficial than you know for the channel. So thank you so much, man. I mean, even just that alone, you know, just did huge work for the entire stream, right? It was slow going until that. So thank you so much, Silent Spartan. And Jake Skew comes in. Jake Skew's feeling it. Jake Skew dropping another single gift, bringing us to 53. Jake, I've been seeing you pop in as well, man. Dropping some singles. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, guys, we are going to have members content this week. I know I've been dropping the ball a little bit. I apologize. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes. It's been a hectic week or two. So thank you guys for bearing with me. But I did tell you guys that I do plan to bring Morning with the Misses back come September. But leading into that, we will have more members content. We are going to be this week. We're going to do a members lounge. I might hold off on doing gameplay this week because the next week we're going to be looking at Metal Gear Solid Delta, and that I'm definitely going to be. I'm going to be. I'm going to have to. I'm going to be streaming a lot of Metal Gear Delta. So. Oh yeah, I'll definitely be streaming Gamescom. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, Gamescom is happening on Tuesday. For me, it's happening at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's happening at 2 p.m. Eastern. So I'll be probably going live at, I don't know, normal time, 12 p.m. Eastern, and we'll probably hang out for the first 2 hours. speculating, talking about what we hope to see. But I'll definitely be live reacting to that show. I'm more excited for Gamescom this year than I have been in quite a few years. Guys, I wanted to do something really quick as well before we continue our conversation. I'm gonna mess with the lighting again, and I just want you to tell me. Look, so I'm gonna increase the brightness of this lamp. Is that better? Like, how much better is that? 0 points like, no, God, man, not again, not with the lighting. Irfan, you're looking forward to it? Well, good. Too shiny? Is it too shiny? Too bright? I don't know. I've been messing around with these lamps and trying to figure out the right lighting. Irfan, it's gonna be 8:30 p.m. for you. Okay, so we can make the lamp like sunset orange. Yeah, I did that a couple times. So does that look better? Does the orange look better? I don't know. Bright light, less shiny, the better. Yeah, it is a little bit distracting. We did the blue before. It was a bit much. MBG Naughty Dog is being managed just fine. They're working on Interstellar and a mysterious third game after that. Yeah, that's true. It just feels like I don't know. It feels like they've been so underutilized this generation. You want green? Wes, I know you want green. Purple and blue for Amethyst. Well, I would make it that's really holy shit. Yeah, that's pretty distracting. That's really bright. It's that time again, guys. We're just gonna mess around with the lighting for a moment. Dude, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know who that is, 0 point. Do you guys are saying purple? You know, that says purple, like on I don't know, on the settings it says it's purple, but it's coming through as blue. So I don't really know. Oh shit. Damn, Luna, you just came out of nowhere. Luna, you want some? Is there a gradient slider you can mess with? Yeah, that's kind of what I've been messing with. Anyway, there you go, Luna. Blue doesn't look too bad, right? Man, just pick a color, says Rudy. Just pick a color. It's that time. It's that segment of the stream. I think the darker blue looks nice. I mean, it matches the PlayStation symbol light. Keep the blue. All right, we'll keep the blue. We'll keep the blue. Blue for PlayStation, baby. Although maybe I should lower it a little bit because it is very. Let me see. Make it increase it a little bit. That looks good, right? Yeah. Not too bad. Sorry. All right. Yeah, back to The Last of Us multiplayer. Well, I mean, I got to tell you guys, one of the things I'm going to always have a hard time forgiving Sony for will be the fact that, and Naughty Dog for that matter, will be the fact that they promised us not only a Last of Us multiplayer game, but a big one. You know, one that was going to be way better than a Factions 2 that was seemingly planned for The Last of Us Part 2 for us to ultimately just end up getting nothing. It's going to be, it's still, I'm sorry, I don't mean, I'm like not trying to beat a dead horse. And I know for a lot of people, it's like, man, you've already treaded this ground numerous times and we've talked about this numerous times. But with this new report of this new studio being formed by former Naughty Dog developers that were working on this online multiplayer game, this gives me just a glimmer of hope. I don't want to assume that this is going to be exactly what I wanted, that this is going to be the Last of Us multiplayer that we never got. But the fact that they're out here saying they formed a team, they're taking everything they learned at Naughty Dog and they're name dropping games like Uncharted, The Last of Us, making it clear that what they're working on now is going to be similar to what they were doing for The Last of Us multiplayer. I'm going to be watching this with great interest. You know, I'm going to be paying attention. It does sound like this game is potentially years away, but I'm not sure though because they said in this interview that they've been playing the game every night and they're having a great time. So I mean, I'm just a little confused as to like what exactly this game is because it's like, okay, so former developers from Naughty Dog, you know they're talented. They they were working on The Last of Us multiplayer for 4 to 5 years. In the last year and a half, they formed a new studio. They got 10 people. They're ramping up to 30. And whatever it is that they built, they've been playing every night saying it's been really fun. I don't know. I mean I hope that when this comes out, whenever not when it comes out, but when we see the first trailer and the reveal, I hope that this is basically like, oh shit, is Sony is this a Last of Us multiplayer trailer? And then we find out it's not. It's the team that was working on The Last of Us multiplayer with their own thing. I hope that's what this ends up being. Um, but you know, they're doing this totally solo and independent. No, as far as I'm aware, Sony is not working with them. Let me go back to the. So he says here, where is it? Um, I feel like there was a specific thing he said here that hinted at maybe them. So he says their new game is being described as a triple indie title and has been in development for a few months. And while it isn't yet ready to show to the public, he says he's been playing with friends every week. He says there's not much we can say yet, but the new game is a multiplayer game, and we aim to bring the cinematic action uh, we've been familiar with from our previous titles to multiplayer. We're already in contact with partners, and we'd expect to have more information to share in the future. So we're already in contact with partners. I wonder what that means. I don't I don't know. Like this is a little I'm not trying to read too much into it, but the more I'm reading it here, it's like so he name drops games like Uncharted for The Last of Us Part 2. Um he says see, it's this line right here. It's what he says right here that makes me think we're just straight up going to be getting like a Last of Us-esque multiplayer game. Is he says we aim to bring the cinematic action we've been familiar with from our previous titles to multiplayer. And again, the previous titles are The Last of Us and Uncharted. So I don't know. We're gonna have a Light of Motrium situation on our hands here. Do you think maybe what if they're trying to get Sony on board? You know, what if basically they're like we'll make our own team that will because like think about it. If this game ends up being like The Last of Us multiplayer, and people look at it and are like, holy shit, that looks like The Last of Us, but multiplayer, and it looks good and people like it. Effectively, they would have created the team, the support team. You know what I mean? For that multiplayer game. Maybe Sony would take note of that and be like, you know what, actually, you guys want to become Naughty Dog South? I don't know. Sony should partner. If they do a Last of Us ripoff, they'll be in trouble. Well, that's the thing. I am expecting it. Like, who knows? It could be a highly stylized game. My whole thing with this, though, is it's a small team. You know, it could very well be that they're just saying all these buzzwords and saying these things for people like me to pay attention. Where it's like he mentions Last of Us, he mentions Naughty Dog and Uncharted, he mentions multiplayer. I mean, yeah, they could just he could just be saying these things to like get attention, which would make sense. You know, you're a newly formed team, and your marketing budget is probably zero or very, or, very small. So you got to find some way to get the headlines, right? But I am trying to keep in mind that with this multiplayer team, they're like, they're like 10 people. So, I mean, what the Last of Us multiplayer was like 100 people, something like that. So, whatever this ends up being, I don't think they're going to be able to pull off like a really big multiplayer title like what we would have expected from Naughty Dog with the Last of Us multiplayer. But even if we just end up getting like a sliver of it, you know, personally, I'm more disappointed that they canceled the Spider-Man multiplayer game. Yeah, that I don't even think there was a game there, man. I'll be honest. I think that was just like a pitch. I think that they just pitched the like some kind of multiplayer offering for Spider-Man and it just didn't even get off the ground. Make it the first of us. There you go. MBG Fair Games is not canceled. Drat and Double Drat. No, it's not canceled yet, apparently. Not yet. I mean, I'm thinking it's not going to get canceled, to be honest. Like, if they haven't canceled it by now, I am beginning to think that Fair Games is going to be something that Sony's committed to. I mean, it survived up till this point. Um, what's the point when the studio's head is gone? Do I think Marathon has a shot then? Oh, I don't know, man. I think Marathon might be cooked, dude. Did I see what Detective Seed said about Fair Games? I did not see what was said. Let me see. I'm trying to find it now. Okay. The rumor was some of Bungie and Firewalk developers went over there after everything went down. So that's my opinion of what they're doing with the game right now. And Jade Raymond did not like this, so she left. He says, my opinion is that after the Concord debacle, PlayStation had Fair Games changed from just being an extraction shooter to a looter shooter like the Division 2 and is being delayed in order to build it for a PS6 release, maybe PS5. Oh my God. Please, God, no. No, 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 no. Sony, please. Rumor was some. Okay, yeah. So, well, he's saying it's his opinion though. So I don't think. I think he said he was like retiring from leaking or something, if I recall. God, please, no, Sony, do not set up Fair Games. Do not set up Fair Games as a PlayStation 6 launch title, bro. No. No, dude. I can't deal with that. No. Like, if you're going to release it, please, God, just get it out at the end of the PS5 generation. Clear the way for a smooth PlayStation 6 launch, bro. You think changing it means to unwoke it? Well, I will tell you, man. If you go back and watch that CGI trailer, it is. I think it's kind of cringe. Fair Games will have The Last of Us Online assets, bro. They're just gonna quietly convert Fair Games into The Last of Us Online. Holy shit! Yeah, I mean, like shit or get off the pot, right? With this game. Well, I understand why some people, when they see the CG trailer, like this game looks woke. I don't. It just looks kind of cringe in a sense, where it's like I don't even know that it's so much woke as it's just like this is some like the Fair Games trailer is quite possibly one of the most generic and uninspired video game trailers I've ever seen. Where it's like, what, dude? This you could have shown me this like 10 years ago and told me it was a canceled Ubisoft game, and I would 100% believe you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean you could, and I will say this: you can tell with Fair Games from what we've seen so far. You can tell that this was a game that was workshopped and kind of manifested back in like 2019, 2020, 2021, around that time. You can tell. Um, but I just think we're at a point now where like if people just want something fucking good from Sony, if they're going to do live service, and the only way I think that they can turn Fair Games around, and I don't know, I know this is going to sound like a wild statement, but I almost wonder if Fair Games might have a better chance than even like Marathon, because I feel like Marathon people are, I don't know, people have like completely turned against Bungie. Like people like kind of hate Bungie now. I feel like with Fair Games, the one benefit it has is you haven't shown shit yet, and that is a benefit. Where it's like the only frame of reference you have is that one trailer. And let's face it, by the time Fair Games is shown again, assuming it doesn't get canceled, it's going to be a complete re-reveal. And so it could look night and day different in terms of how they present it, um and they haven't shown the gameplay yet either. So that is the one benefit of Fair Games, is that they are still kind of shrouded in secrecy, and we don't really know what it's going to look like and what the gameplay will be like. I just hope that they realize they need to get away from, like, this is the biggest thing, all right, in my opinion. And this goes for all of Sony's live service games. They need to take a page from the Helldivers book, right? Which is Helldivers. One of the reasons why Helldivers succeeded was because the developers did not give a shit to try to appeal to a wider audience. Like they were just like, we're gonna make what we think looks cool. Like we're not going with a highly stylized game. We're not going for a cart. You know what I mean? Like they weren't trying to like make a Fortnite clone. They weren't trying to go with a certain aesthetic, visually speaking, because they think that's what'll get the most attention. They just did what they wanted, and they made a good game. They made a good game, and they just did what they thought looked cool. And they had lower to modest expectations. We're like, oh yeah, hopefully we find an audience. And I just think, this is where Helldivers kind of proves, like, from a visual standpoint, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, Helldivers is a really good looking game. And I want to make it understood, like, I'm not trying to say it's a bad looking game when I say this, or like no, Helldivers is a very good looking game, and it does have a unique style to it. But I'm just saying that, like, it's kind of proof that it doesn't really matter what your game looks like, as long as it's amazingly fun to play. And it has a hook that really gets, stuck into you very quickly. Um, and the same could be said for Fair Games, where it could look like the most generic thing ever, but if the gameplay is incredible, but see, that's the thing, is based off of play tests, apparently, from the leak we heard, the gameplay is not incredible. The gameplay is like okay and feels kind of clunky. a little bit, but has potential. If they can refine it and build upon it, I do think that like if they go with a more modest art style, something that's not supposed to be like photorealistic, but also something that's not hyper stylized. Um, if they can find that gameplay loop, I don't know, man. There might maybe just be something there, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Bro, the CEO left Fairgames because the gameplay was so bad. The moment they show gameplay, it'll get even worse. Secrecy is what's currently saving it. Remember Concord? That also got worse when they showed gameplay. It's the same. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm just looking at the glass half full right now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Chaos Theory. Let me see what you said. Uh, saying MBG, I'm streaming the Trail of Black Myth Wukong, and the movement is awkward and clunky. My sensitivity is on 6. I've turned it to 10, and it didn't really change. I need help. I'm on the PS5 Slim. LOLs. Oh, dude, I'm sorry, Chaos Theory. I don't think I'd be able to help you there. I'm not sure. Yo, you're gonna have to refer to AI on this one, Chaos Theory. MBG, imagine if Fair Games is free to play and features a pay to win mechanics. Wouldn't be Fair Games anymore? No, well, you know what the craziest thing about Fair Games is? It's not going to be free to play. Fair Games is going to be a $40 game. I think Sony has to be so careful, man, because Concord, again, I know we talk about it so much, but Concord, just like Helldivers, like has to be brought up in every conversation regarding live service for Sony, because it, in the same way that Helldivers can't be forgotten, as like look at how insanely successful Helldivers is and how beloved it is. Concord is the antithesis of that, and Sony experienced the lowest of low as well. And I just think that Sony needs to be aware that like you might want to consider canceling Fair Games if you can't figure it out. Because the alternative is what you tried with Concord, where with Concord, Concord represents Sony pushing ahead, forcing something through, right? There was so much resistance to Concord, and it's true, it only got worse. More trailers, gameplay, character reveals, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I even remember building up to the launch of Concord, how they even had like an animated series of trailers that they released. They had all this shit ready to go. And I understand why they didn't cancel it and delay it and just stop, because they already determined that this game was going to be a success. And it was it's still the craziest thing, man. Hot take, Concord isn't that bad. I mean, listen, there's an argument to be made, truthfully. There's an argument to be made that Concord maybe got curb stomped a few more times than it actually should have. You know, there's the, because it's true. Like the gameplay was like, oh, this isn't that bad. Like this is competent, but everything else, man. Yeah, bro, I buy extra small shirts so I can look this way. Well, I am gonna have to do reps at the end of the stream, thanks to Silent Spartan. So I am taking the creatine. Yeah, although I'm not consistent with it. I take it like a couple times a week. I haven't been taking it every single day, but there is like this argument potentially to be made that Concord shouldn't have gotten curb stomped to death like that. You know what I mean? Like it should have been, I don't know, like it was bad. It was bad. You know what I mean? Like it's still so insane. Where I think it was the perfect storm of the market collectively wanted to see this game die, to send a clear message. And I think I think if Concord came from another publisher, it would have survived longer. Not much longer, but it would have survived a little bit longer. But I think because it was from Sony, and it's like, oh, y'all done fucked up now. Sony, Sony, you made this garbage. Like, I think it really, I think it really made people kind of focus even more on like, no, like we cannot let this pass. Like we need to humble Sony right now. And that's why it's so crazy to look at where it's like, bro, Sony canceled this game after it launched. Like that I cannot I still can't believe that happened. Where they actually released it and it took them seeing how nobody was playing it. It took them seeing that failure to be like, holy shit, we have to issue refunds, bro. Like they refunded everybody. I mean, if I were Sony, man, I would be so damn nervous. This and you could tell they are scared shitless. You can tell Sony is absolutely petrified after like they're seeing it happen with Marathon now, by the way. And that's what's so interesting is that like the Marathon hate has been like a slow boil where there's just more salt being thrown into the pot helping it come to a more rapid boil, and I think it really came to a complete you know full boil in the pot when the whole you know plagiarizing thing came out. And I think Sony's just kind of hoping that they go long enough, you know people will people will forget, and it's like I don't think so, man. I think people are not talking about it right now because, yeah, it's Concord or not Concord, Marathon's in the background. But I think the moment Marathon comes back, all you're going to see is people will be like, so about the plagiarism. I don't know. I, I feel like Sony, they got to be so careful, man, because I do not want to see another Concord situation. And honestly, if Sony allows another Concord situation to happen, I'm going to fucking lose it on them, dude. I will, because sure, I've been hypercritical towards Sony over Concord, maybe too much, right? Like even people at this point is like, okay, man, like we get it, but it's just like there's just no way Sony can allow something like that to happen again. And if they actually willingly allow it to happen again, you're gonna see me kind of like turn on them, dude. Where it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna hate for the sake of hating, but it's like, how many times do you have to learn this lesson? Because a lesson like what happened with Concord only once. Only once. I don't know, man. I'm still, in case you can't tell, I'm still very, very nervous about Sony's upcoming live service games. I want more stuff like Helldivers. I want to see Sony succeed in live service like they are with Helldivers. Just based off of the games that we've seen in front of us, though, so far, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, dude, I was almost relieved. I know this sounds horrible, but when I saw that, like, it said that, like, there were reports saying that this game was canceled, Fairgames. I was almost a little bit relieved, like, oh, crisis averted. And then I found out that, oh no, it's not canceled. I'm like, okay, all right, well, all right. MBG, don't you feel many groups of people only like to spread false narrative perception whenever a new game comes out? It has come to a point where we're seeing such volatility around a game like Yote. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's troublesome about it is that there are games that do deserve genuine criticism and it's important, you know? Um, but then you get people that they just want to kind of go overboard, and they veer into territory where it's like, what are you talking about? And they try to mask it as like, no, this is genuine criticism that if you're not partaking in, then you're part of the problem. And it's like, I'm pretty sure you're just a crazy person trying to pretend you're not crazy. And for some reason, you're actually fooling people. And that's concerning. I'm not sure what's more concerning, the fact that you were crazy and or people can't tell. You're making other people crazy. Sony has a perfect games for multiplayer and live service: MotorStorm, Killzone, SOCOM, Twisted Metal. However, they will never give us the games they want. We want. Donkey Kong games has become more fun to them than playing new games. It's very true. It's sad. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. Did Buck did Bucky did Bungie just get lucky ASF with Destiny or something? Sony thought they would be gods at making live service games. Um so I don't think that they got lucky. I mean, there's a little bit of luck. Yeah. Like any success story, there's a little bit of luck involved. Is, Destiny 1 and 2 just pure luck and that's it? No. I don't think so. But I think that the problem is I think Sony bought a dying studio. I think that Bungie, they successfully went from Halo to Destiny, and Destiny was like in a way kind of the evolution of Halo. Don't forget, Bungie wanted to make Destiny when they were at Microsoft, and Microsoft said, no, you are the Halo team. That's what made Bungie get away from Microsoft. Then they went with Activision, and that was obviously that didn't work out well for them either. And it's funny because like now Activision's owned by Microsoft. And I think by the time they got to Sony, and by the time Sony stepped in, I think I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If you ever want to see a Sony truly out of pocket, and trust me, we've seen an out of pocket Sony in the past. But if you ever want to see Sony like a deer in the fucking headlights, like you don't know what you're doing at all. I don't know who exactly is to blame. We've talked about this. Like, I don't know who exactly is to blame. Sony, not them saying we want to do live service. That's not Sony being a deer in the headlights. That's just Sony being like, we got to start making live service games. Look at where the industry's going. Sony being a deer in the headlights is, I got it. Let's get Bungie. They're going to be the ones to lead. We're going to let Bungie take the lead on this one. That is probably the worst we've ever seen Sony. Because that was Sony basically saying, we don't know how to do it, and we're afraid it's going to take too long to learn how to do it. And we feel as though we're already behind. So we're just going to like Sony did the thing that I've claimed many times, like doesn't work most of the time, which is you can't just drop bags of money and then assume like, there you go, we win. It doesn't work like that. And that's what's so crazy about Sony doing that is they should know that. If any publisher should know that, it's Sony. But I don't know, man. You do have to wonder what these conversations were like between Sony and Bungie. Like, what exactly were the Bungie executives saying? How persuasive were they? How convincing were they? I mean, did the executives at Bungie truly convince Sony that they were like the gods of live service? Bow before us? Like, and all Sony was thinking was money, and like, yes, these guys will make us the most money. I mean, you can imagine it's something along those lines. But, you know, Sony is they're just Sony's you want to talk about a game that represents Sony getting truly lucky, it is Helldivers. That is the epitome of holy shit, this just fell into our lap. Like, not the game itself, not the studio. We signed the studio, we worked with the studio, we've been working with them since 2015. But this massive success, we had like that's luck for Sony. But it's completely offset by their forced attempt. Their forced aggressive attempt of we need to win here. And we're gonna win with Bungie. And it's like I don't feel bad that Well, I mean, I feel bad because it sucks. Like, we don't want to see this happen, but it's like I I have no more like I just don't have much there's no more goodwill to give Sony now with live service. You know what I'm saying? Cuz it's like you have a successful live service with Helldivers. You have one of the biggest failures in history in gaming with Concord. And you also have possibly the worst studio purchase ever with Bungie. So, what did we learn here, Sony? What did we learn here? And if they still end up screwing up in like a major way going forward, it's like for example, if Marathon comes out and it's still, you know, Sony lost $20 billion in stock value from just Microsoft announcing they will acquire ABK. So they were panicking and had to find a way to shore up investors. And yet, there's no doubt that played a huge role. And that's why I don't feel bad for Sony. Because it's like, if you want to make panic decisions based off of, oh no, our shareholders, then lose them. Then lose the fucking shareholders because slow and steady wins the race, man. Like that's what's crazy to me is you would think Sony knows that. But I also understand like it's different leadership, right? So they see that and they're like, "Oh god. Oh god." Meanwhile, look at how it turned out. Sony could have saved themselves the pain because Microsoft was like, "Bro, we're going to put our games on your console anyway." Imagine how Sony must have felt after that. They're like, "What? So we didn't have to do any of this?" No, you didn't. Josh Z with the $10 super chat. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, it's an issue when I'm addicted to playing through a link to the past, a game released the year I was born instead of new games. Or you're asking if it's an issue, I guess. New games are not designed with quality in mind, with few exceptions. No. So you're saying it is an issue for you, Josh. Um, I don't know. I mean, to deviate from the conversation we were just having for a moment here, Josh, I do believe that if you look back to some of the best games that were made in the past and you were to play them today and then stack them up to a lot of modern day releases, I do think that there are certain qualities in those games that you will kind of notice like are not that prevalent anymore. Now, I don't think that's for all games. I think you can still play games today that have that same level of quality, that have that same feel. I see people in the chat saying maybe it's nostalgia. I think nostalgia plays a role, certainly. There's no denying. I think that definitely plays a role. But it's hard to really put in the words sometimes. But I do think that when you play an older game, like I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Like I feel like, well, let's just take Metal Gear Solid 3, right? Like since that a remake of that's coming up. I feel like if Metal Gear Solid 3 remake wasn't a thing, it just wasn't a thing. But you went back and you played Metal Gear Solid 3, let's say Subsistence, where they fixed the camera, and you can rotate the camera. If you go back and you play that, you'll realize that like the quality is still there. There are aspects of this game that hold up not only so well, but they're timeless. There's just certain qualities in games that it doesn't matter what year they were made, they're just timeless. And I think that's it kind of what you're identifying is that at the center of video games, of quality video games, like the really good ones, there always has to be that kind of fundamental base foundation of does this game feel, and I mean really feel good to play? Like something that really kind of scratches that itch in your brain that and produces like a feeling that maybe you'll never forget. That's something that I think is shared across all games. Um, I don't mean literally all games. I mean that's something that's shared across games since they've been created. I think you could go back and play, games that were made in the 80s. Some of the top games at that time, and you'll realize like there's still something there that it fucking works. Like it can't be undone, it can't be broken, and it's understandable to think that like some people can have fun. Some people can have more fun at, replaying and re-experiencing those mechanics than more modern day mechanics. That's absolutely true. Um but yeah, man, I will say that I do think nostalgia is certainly a part of it. I think, not to say that nostalgia is what makes the game good. I think it's what makes the game sometimes even better, if that makes sense. Like going back and playing an older game that holds up mechanically. Like, man, the game design, the mechanics, superb. But then you have that layer of nostalgia. I think that all those things fused together, I think that can absolutely produce a feeling of this is better than any of the junk coming out today. I think I totally understand why people feel that way. I don't necessarily feel that way myself or agree with it entirely. Um, but I do understand. Like, dude, a game that I think about still, and I brought it up in like numerous streams, and I guess I was just thinking about it because I was like playing Battlefield. Is how like playing Battlefield and seeing Call of Duty getting ready to be revealed is like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Like it's just to me, it's so interesting to think that if I were to go play that game right now, right, like suddenly there's like an influx of players in that game, no cheaters, and I'm just playing Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare multiplayer, like it's 2007 again. It would still hold up. Like I would identify like certain aspect, the animations are really simple and clunky in some ways, and the graphics obviously aren't great. The sound design is not up to date, but there's just something there where it's like it fucking works. It's so simple and it works. And yeah, I don't know though. But people also, there are certainly people who would go back and play something like that and be like, nah, this doesn't, you know, where are all my kill streaks? Where's my AC 130, bro? Where's my battle pass? It's interesting, Josh. It's interesting to think you watched your brother play that for so long. Hell yeah, man. I can say this about Borderlands 2. The nostalgia's still there. I don't know. If you don't know how 4 will be, but 2 is forever replayed, in my opinion. One of the best games ever. You know what game I feel that way about? Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 for me is a game that and there are like not many games, like truly, there are not many games that I feel as though if I were to play the original version now, I guess you could do the remastered version too, because it's just a resolution increase and a frame rate increase. But if I were just to play Dark Souls 1, like untouched, right? Not a remake or anything, like the 360 version of Dark Souls, I would feel, and I do question how much of it is nostalgia. It's hard to say. Like I feel like I could confidently play that game and feel like I feel the exact same way playing this game today as I did the first time. Like it holds up. I don't think I played something that has surpassed Dark Souls 1 um in this, in this way, right? And people will be like, "Well, what about Dark Souls 3? And what about Elden Ring?" And I'm like, "Yeah, those are all incredible games too, but Dark Souls 1, there's something, I don't know. At least in my opinion, like there's something there that is not present in any other game." And maybe it is that time and place type situation. I remember where I was. I was 18 years old when Dark Souls 1 came out. And I remember where I was in my life at that point, and I remember how addicted I got to that game and how it seemingly helped me through a rough time in my life. But it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I do wonder how much of that influences that feeling. And like, you know what I'm saying? It is that like kind of nostalgia. Like when like if I were to pick up the controller and boot up Dark Souls 1 and I'm in a Firelink shrine, and it's like, God damn, holy shit. Like nothing out here today is producing that feeling. Um, there is an argument I think to be made that it is to a degree nostalgia, but at the same time, and this is what makes I think the conversation about Dark Souls 1 interesting, is that Dark Souls 1 literally um it created a whole new genre of game. So if you remove the nostalgia factor, you can't deny that like the game design was so superb fundamentally that it literally spawned an entire new genre of game. So I don't know. I maybe we're just at a crossroad, not a crossroads, but like maybe we're at a wall. Maybe we did hit a little bit of a wall where it's like I think you don't really see games kind of doing that today. Like it feels like we're at a point. Think about it. Like when you see a new game revealed, how is it described? Everybody's using past games to describe a new game. It's a combination of A, B, C, and D, right? When something like Dark Souls came out, there was no description. It's just holy like this is Dark Souls. This is going to be a game that we use to describe other games in the future. You know what I mean? Um, I'm trying to think of a game that I mean Death Stranding 2, yeah, that there's an argument to be made that Death Stranding 2 is kind of that, right? Where like you can't really the closest thing you could describe for something like Death Stranding 2 or a game you could relate it to is like MGS5. And that was done intentionally, right? But you take those aspects of it away, I mean, it's like it is like is it a new genre? Are you going to see Death Stranding like games? I don't believe so. But you can't deny it's unique. It's doing something different. So I don't know. It's always interesting to think about the industry in this way and to think about games in this way. And um, it's interesting to think that like when you look at a game like Expedition 33, how that game didn't necessarily do anything new per se, but it did something that needed to be done at this time. And it did it so well that it kind of feels new. It's like that, and we call that revitalization, right? Um, And maybe sometimes that's what's needed, where it doesn't always have to be something brand new and innovative all the time. Maybe instead we need a revitalization. That'll that is just as good in many cases. But Tarnish, you're saying MBG, I think people have false and somewhat unrealistic expectations nowadays. They think games get better slash bigger whenever a new year passes by. They think it's a never ending progression. It's unreasonable. Yeah. Well, I do think the innovation is going to come in a different place, um, or come from a different place. Like I was thinking about this the other day. Uh, well, actually, it was last night. I was talking to my friend, and we were talking about GTA 6, right? And well, we were talking about the idea of AI being conscious or whatever, or self-aware. But I'm not having that conversation. Instead, what I was thinking is like when we play something like GTA 6, it's going to be groundbreaking for numerous reasons. One of the reasons GTA 6 is going to be groundbreaking is because when when people are playing this game, it's going to be so close to real life. Like when you see AI characters walking the streets and you see the way things interact with the world, the way people interact with each other, with other things in the world, it it's going to feel, it's going to feel like holy shit, we've never seen something this realistic. Like it's going to be in some cases it might be a little disturbing. It's like this is so realistic and believable. It's like I mean, what is we've never seen anything quite like it. MBG, not to derail you, but check out Windows Central article. It just dropped. Xbox hardware architect reflects on Xbox Series X and S as it wraps up. Oh, geez. That sounds like bait. But I was going to say that, like, what if, like, I know it sounds crazy. Imagine GTA 7 now. 20 years from now. Let's just say 20 years from now, GTA 7, and it's I want you to think about how much AI will advance in the next 20 years. I'm going there. I am going there, Capono. I want you to think about where we are with AI now, where we are with GTA 6. I want you to think 20 years from now, where AI could be, and GTA 7 is actually going to be real 20 years from now. I want you to imagine that AI is so advanced that people are going to be questioning if the random pedestrians you're encountering in this game, GTA 7, 20 years from now, it'll be what would it be 2045 or whatever. People are going to be questioning, like, dude, are these, like, are they conscious? Are they actually, like, is this a real consciousness? How real can we make this? Like, how real does it get? Because what I'm trying to say here, because I'm doing a really horrible job. What I'm trying to say here is that I think the next true innovation in video games is AI being integrated into these games. Not like AI as we know it now in games. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, they're smart and they're advanced and they're like pre-programmed. I'm talking like free AI, like free form AI or whatever, where it's like these NPCs and like everything's going to be able to kind of think for itself now. But in a way that was not even remotely possible before. I don't know. I don't know if I'm describing this well, but it's just going to feel freaky, I think, in a sense. It reminds me of that leak that we saw with Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West, and Sony like freaked out where they did that. They integrated AI into Horizon Forbidden West, and you could just talk to Aloy, and she seemed like a real, you know, like she became much more real in that sense. Like she felt like a living, breathing person that you were talking to and was answering you. And oh, hold on. And I feel like it's stuff like this that's going to over time be integrated into games. And people are going to be having, I know that this sounds nuts, but people are going to have like different types of relationships with their games in the future. And that's going to be, I don't know what that's going to mean. Truthfully, I don't know how that's going to change the landscape, but you're going to be there is definitely some kind of intense evolution of the video game industry that's going to occur down the line. I don't know if it's going to be 10 years from now. I don't know if it's going to be 30 plus years from now. But eventually that threshold's going to be crossed where it's like, yes, you are going to enter this world now. And it's going to be very difficult to distinguish this world from the real world. Or at least from a psychological or even just, the way our brains work from that point of view. You're going to see people in the future. I mean, think about it. You see people now getting helplessly addicted to video game worlds where you're just staring at a screen. Imagine you're playing GTA 6 right now or next year and you're in your living room, you're staring at a screen, and I want you to think about how immersed you can get in that. And I want you to imagine 20 years from now when that's taken to another level. that's taken to another level where it's like you can practically literally like be in this world. I don't know how they'll make it work technologically speaking, but something tells me that that's where we're headed in the future. Like I'm talking long term. I'm not talking like, you know, next generation or something, or even the gen after that. I mean, I'm really thinking like what's gonna like how are our great great grandkids gonna be playing games? I think that I mean it's kind of scary to imagine, but it's like I think we're looking at some Matrix level shit here at some point. Because again, look at where we are in 2025 with GTA 6. I want you to imagine playing GTA 6 in VR with some, surround sound headphones on, really high quality VR, high resolution, high frame rate in a world like GTA 6. I mean, that can theoretically be achieved in the next few years. And that's where we are now. And there are people who would get fucking lost in that. I mean, totally like, holy shit. I'm in a virtual fucking world right now. I don't need to be in the real world. That's where we are now. Imagine 20 years from now. It's going to be crazy, dude. It's going to be crazy. And I think a lot of stuff that we're seeing now, that the fact that we are hitting this kind of wall in game design to a degree where it's like now everything's just becoming homogenized and games are being described by other games, and hardware. It's not that it's less exciting, but it's like, we kind of have an idea of what to like. Where do we go beyond 4K? Do people even want 8K? And the question is beginning to be asked, like, what do people want? MBG AI is progressing in orders of magnitude in 1 to 2 years. AI is in 2025 is 250 times faster and more intelligent than the AI in 2023. Astonishing stuff. See, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, Tarnished. Where it's like, we're going to be, listen, for all I know, you know what GTA 7 is going to be? GTA 7 is going to be you boot up your application, and you talk to your AI and you say, I want you to make me Grand Theft Auto 7. Here's exactly what I want it to be. Here's where I want it to be set. Here's, I want it to replicate real life. Here's what types of people I want to encounter. It could be some crazy shit like that. And it's like, you know, years down the line, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to say, this is the game that I want. And you'll be able to put your fucking, I don't know. Dude, I don't know, man. Who knows where this technology is going? People are going to have chips in their brains and shit. It's hard to think far future like that because it sounds. Can you please discuss politics with GTA 9 NPCs without censorship? mm, it might be a movie, but Ready Player One was a vision into our future in gaming 20 years from now. Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating stuff, dude. It's fascinating because I do wonder if there's going to be a really clear inflection point or like a dividing line where I I would be skeptical. I already am. Like I've played PSVR 2 and I get it. I totally get how like playing a game like Resident Evil 4 remake in PlayStation VR 2 with a pair of headphones on is pretty damn immersive. Like I understand that I'm not actually Leon and that I'm not actually in this, like this world is not real, but it's doing a better job than I would like to admit of tricking my brain into thinking like, man, this feels kind of fucking real. Like I'm at the mercy of if somebody were to like push me, I'm going to feel like I'm falling on the ground in this fucking village. And I'm going to think there was like it was an enemy or some shit that, or like a fucking one of those chainsaw dudes or some shit. I don't know. It's just crazy to think that like that's where I am right now. That's right now. Um and it's like what you're saying, Tarnished. AI is going to be AI is progressing at a rate that we cannot I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think we can control it. Like, I don't know how we will control it. I guess maybe we can for now, but it's like it's progressing at a rate that is mind-blowing. Like, think about what you just said. It's like 250 times better today in August of 2025 than it was in 2023. That's like, what? How is that even possible? And it's being integrated very quickly as a tool. I don't know. I don't know. I just think that the future of video games more than anything. The reason why games are so interesting to me is because you think about the future of movies. You think about the future of music. You think about the future of reading, I guess. Like video games represent a medium that truly is unique in that I think the future is video games. Like in terms of people wanting um to experience different things. I like the idea that like yeah, in the future if I like put on this headset, I can basically customize this experience and make it exactly what I want. I want to go back. I want to know what it's like to actually like I remember back in 2018 I played Red Dead Redemption 2 and I got immersed because I was playing as Arthur Morgan, and I kind of felt like, man, this is so authentic and feels so accurate to the the late 1800s, it's so realistic. Imagine eventually you can put on a headset and I don't know, I guess you would still have maybe just put on gloves or some shit by that point. You're just putting on gloves. You put on a headset, you put on gloves, and it's like you're going to be able to experience that um except it's you. It's you and it's photorealistic and it's sensory now. And you're basically there. And when you go talk to an NPC in this future Red Dead Redemption, in this VR experience, hopefully a very comfortable VR experience, when you go talk to an NPC, it's just a natural conversation. It's as if you are walking up to a real person and initiating a conversation. And there will be no sense of you will get totally lost in it. And you will actually feel like, holy shit, I've been teleported back to, you know, 1890 or some shit. And I don't know. I just it almost sounds a little bit dangerous. Like what does that do to your brain? Um I don't know. Maybe I know I'm thinking like kind of a little bit off the rails here, but I don't think, you know, I don't think I'm too far off from it cuz like think about it. Like when people go to the movies, what are you doing? You want to get immersed in something else. It's escapism, you want to get lost in a different world and you want to meet new characters and you want to experience different emotions and different feelings, but the most intense games and movies that produce that, I mean, they're still limited in a sense where there's still a disconnect. There's multiple aspects of the um of the experience that keep you disconnected. And I think that gaming is actually the the only area where it'll be able to bridge that gap. Where actually we're going to be able to get it to a point where you're not going to be able to tell that you're in a virtual world. We're going to basically cover all of your senses. We're getting closer and closer to that. And when that happens, I mean, you see people now where like people want to scroll on the internet all day. They want to play video games all day. They want to be on their devices all day. They want to be somewhere else all day. I feel like technology is advancing to a point where it's going to be able to take you for like deeper into that, like layers deeper. And let's just face it, all right? I know this sounds like some sci-fi shit, but let's just face it. If we had the technology and the ability to put your consciousness into a fucking computer or a server or some shit. I mean, this is like some cyberpunk stuff, right? If we had the technology to do that and you could just live there, you know, in that matrix or whatever, people would be doing that. People would be like, sign me the fuck up. Hell yeah. I don't want to be here. It's really, I don't know, man. It's really, really, really fascinating what we're witnessing with technology because I do get this feeling like we are on the verge of some kind of crazy breakthrough. I don't know what that breakthrough is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if we should fear it or if we should celebrate it. I'm not sure, but it does seem like humans are getting very close to, I think, discovering some shit that's like, yo, this is like a turning point for the entire human race. Again, I don't know if that will be good or bad, but I do get that feeling. And it's weird because I've been alive for 31 years. I've never got that feeling with pretty much anything else. Maybe the internet was the closest thing where I was like, I could kind of tell, like, well, this is different. Yeah, maybe it was like the internet and then social media, and like these things definitely transformed humanity and changed the course. But something with specifically AI and how it's going to change the course of humanity, it feels so much greater, you know? Like we're right there. We're right there. Something's about to happen. And I do think I do think gaming will be at the center of that, believe it or not, to a degree. I mean, listen, man, when the AI overlords eventually take over, okay? When the AI overlords eventually take over, maybe they'll give us an option. Listen, before we terminate you, we'll let you decide what server do you want to live in. Dude, if you think about it, I almost just got to just play Death Stranding 2. That's all I'm saying. I ain't the only one thinking like this. Kojima's thinking like this too. All right? Kojima's thinking like this too, bro. Anyway, I don't even know. I feel like I got onto this. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to scare anybody. Um, you're scaring people, MBG. MBG tears off the mask, reveals it's Kojima. Would you argue the Death Stranding story is more compelling than its gameplay? Um, yeah, I would argue that to a degree. I think Kojima had a lot to say in Death Stranding 2. And I actually really appreciated a lot of what he had to say. And it's so funny because the thing I appreciate so much about Death Stranding 2's story and the way Kojima's mind works is I feel like I do kind of understand where he's coming from. Like you can just tell he's got all these different things he's thinking about. He's thinking about AI, he's thinking about spirituality, he's thinking about life and death, the afterlife, the meaning of life here. He's thinking about all this shit. And he's just trying to find a way to like cram it all in there. And I think that's why I completely understand it to a degree because it's like, dude, my mind works very similarly where it's like, yes, yes. Like some people I think may get hung up on like, well, what about this one thing? Is that like maybe that's a bit of a plot hole or whatever? It's like, no, you're missing the bigger picture. Like you're missing the bigger question that's being asked or statement that's being made. And that's what I find so interesting about Death Stranding 2 is it's just like, you know, you could tell it's just Kojima just being like, all right, so I got like 10 ideas and I'm going to find a way to make all of them work in one game. And I totally understand why some people would come across and be like, this is messy as shit, dude. I don't even know what's going on. And I totally get it, but I love it at the same time. There is a book, MBG, called On the Beach by Neville Shute that inspired Kojima. Oh, I didn't know that, Hanzo. I guess I need to play it. Death Stranding 1 is on PS Plus and Death Stranding 2 is a free trial. It's good. Yeah, Death Stranding 2 is good, man. Um, I'm going to miss these huge AAA stories, MBG, when live service takes over. I don't think they'll ever. I don't think they'll ever go away completely. Gaming Survivor. I don't think so. MBG, does Death Stranding story endorse nihilism? Um, I'm not sure. Truthfully, like I don't. I think, to be honest, I think Death Stranding 1 and 2. I think generally speaking, it stops just short of, because like you want to know, like, okay, well, in this universe, like, is Kojima trying to say like there's reincarnation? Is there truly an afterlife? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Is there nothingness? Is there oblivion? I feel like he hints at multiple things in the game, and one of them very clearly, like with the beach. But at the same time, it seems like it stops just short of the game itself saying, no, in this universe, this is exactly how it happens. Like it leaves some room for interpretation. I would say I'm not trying to spoil anything. I mean, I'm just talking more broadly, and like I think it leaves a little bit of room for interpretation. I know a lot of people, they want like precise answers. But I think Death Stranding, that universe and the way the stories are told, it definitely tries to leave a few things open. You know, 10 years from now, MBG, you're going to be playing as the Italian brain rot characters on Fortnite 2.0, wondering where gaming went wrong. I fear you're right. Gaming's right. I don't know, man. Fight, man. We got to keep fighting. Oh, that's a scary future, bro. That is a scary future. Um, why does it look? I feel like my lighting looks bad, dude. I feel like it looks dark in here. Got like circles under my eyes. Um. Yeah, Lady Gamer. That's tough. That's tough. Um. Where am I at here? Tarnish says, "Oh no, I'm almost crying. My membership is ending in 7 days." No, in 4 days. Oh, even less. Damn. Well, Silent Spartan dropped 50 today. I'm assuming. I mean, look, I'm assuming we'll get more membership gifts in the coming week. Maybe we'll get lucky and get another one. Let me close out a couple of these tabs though, because I don't know why they're. I don't know why so many of them are open. Oh, apparently there's going to be a new Phantom Blade Zero trailer, by the way, at Gamescom as well. So that'll be pretty exciting. Oh yeah, Tarnish, that'd be cool. I appreciate that too, of course. So let me see. Uh so yeah, Windows Central has this article. It's like Xbox hardware architect reflects on the Xbox Series X and S as it wraps up. With my journey far from over, I'm excited and inspired by what is ahead of us. Microsoft's Xbox Series generation is coming to a close, and one of its principal architects posted some reflections about the journey. Microsoft is in a period of transition, with gaming increasingly moving towards publishing over platform operation. Game Pass subscriptions and games like COD, Minecraft, and World of Warcraft increasingly drive Microsoft's gaming profits over its platform services to third parties. But that pie chart could be set to evolve too. With the Xbox Ally PC gaming handheld, Microsoft is opening up the Xbox brand to traditional PC OEMs like Razer, Dell, Lenovo, and others. The Xbox Ally is the tip of the spear, built in partnership with Asus. Although there are credible rumors we're investigating that we might get a more traditional OEM Xbox PC as soon as 2026, Microsoft may end up finding itself at the fore of a new gaming hardware licensing empire if it all works out, taking cues from Windows PC and its OEM model. But what if first party hardware? Microsoft isn't quitting there either. The next Microsoft built Xbox is already confirmed, and it's set to contain new chips from AMD that maintain compatibility with your existing Xbox library. To that end, Carl Ledbetter, partner head of design for Xbox devices, recently reminisced about the journey ahead of Microsoft gaming as Ledbetter crosses an incredible 30-year stint at Microsoft. Um, Says Ledbetter has been posing a series of reflections on his hardware journey at Microsoft, which includes everything from Microsoft IntelliMouse to the Xbox Adaptive Controller. Choosing 30 products to represent 3 decades of innovation at Microsoft is no easy task. Each product is a chapter in a larger history, a story of collaboration with talented teams and leaders united by a common goal to empower people, bring joy. Okay. Ledbetter remarked on the Xbox Series X and S platform, which on paper is Microsoft's best ever hardware delivery. It has sadly struggled to keep pace with its primary competition, the PS5, owing to a variety of factors. But this is hardly the result of hardware quality, in my view. The Xbox Series X is an incredibly powerful and sleek product, and the Series S, its compactness for its power, is a testament to the skill of Ledbetter and his team. As we wrap up the journey with the Xbox Series X and Series S, the mission behind these consoles echoes everything I've learned over 30 years to create technology that's powerful, purposeful, and beautifully integrated into people's lives. Xbox is about fun and playing games. When we began designing the Xbox Series X, the mission was clear: build a console that delivers unprecedented power while seamlessly integrating into the modern living room. The design was inspired by the machine itself, an engineering marvel of thermal cooling and efficiency, which naturally led to the console's iconic vertical tower form. It's not just a gaming device, it's a statement piece, sleek and monolithic, designed to quietly command presence without shouting for attention. Um, okay. Uh, Ledbetter closed his intro by noting, "With my journey far from over, I am excited and inspired by what is ahead of us." Huh. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I thought there was more to that. I'll be honest. Um, I mean, I've always liked the look of the Series X, you know? I mean, I know people are like, "Oh, it looks like a trash bin or whatever," but I don't know. Like, I like the fact that it's kind of quiet. You know, if you put it in your living room or something, like, it's not going to really stick out. Um, oh, there's going to be a Konami booth at Gamescom with Metal Gear Solid there. Oh, did you guys hear that the multiplayer, by the way, for Metal Gear Solid got delayed? Oh no, MBG's going back to the other side. Sad times. There is no other side, man. No, that's the thing. Like there is no choice anymore. Yeah, that's a weird one, Mr. B. The Metal Gear multiplayer is um not gonna have crossplay. That's weird. There's a bridge now, exactly. Exactly, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. I still see people. I'm gonna be honest, man. It's interesting. Like I see a lot of people, they don't really know what to do now. You know? Like people are used to the drama and there's like kind of no more drama. Because there's like, Sony and Microsoft are like high-fiving each other or whatever. Currently grinding Battlefield 6. Battlefield is so back, man. Dude, Battlefield 6 is awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah, I saw that Tarnished. what the fuck's going on with that, man? Like, that's crazy. Like, I've heard about some problems with Roblox in the past, but like this is really kind of blowing up. And Dark Cloud comes in and renews his membership at Play Has No Limits. We got Dark Cloud coming in, showing some great support here. Not only renewing his membership, but doing so at a higher tier. So Dark
Thank
Cloud,
you. Appreciate it.
thank you so much for that, buddy. That brings us up to 54 on the day. Love to see it, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. They're going to do an investigation. Devil Shooter, you went on a 50 kill spree in the tank. God damn, dude. Devil Shooter's going crazy on Battlefield. Having to wait 2 months to play Battlefield 6 after this beta is rough. Yeah, that's what's crazy about it, man. People are having such a good time. But I think that bodes well for the sales of the game. I think a lot of people are sold now. Yeah, a lot of people. I think that maybe weren't even thinking about buying the next Battlefield. They're like, I'm there. Day one. FromSoft just released a new boss fight, Everdark Libra. It's cracking the humanity. Or the community. I said the humanity. It's cracking the community because it's so difficult. Yeah, dude, this is why I'm good, man. I don't need that in my life. I'm going to be honest. I really don't. Might be the first pre-order for a $70 game for you, Spice the King. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious. I have to say, Battlefield 6 and the success that we're seeing has actually made me more curious now than I was previously to see what Black Ops 7 is going to look like, because it's pretty clear that Battlefield has the momentum, and it won people over, man. And I think with Black Ops 7, Activision and Treyarch are going to have to be on point, because I think this year, I also saw that apparently the release date for Black Ops 7 is going to be like November 14th or something. And if that's true, that's coming out over a month later than Battlefield. So Battlefield has the momentum. It's coming out sooner, apparently. I think Activision and Treyarch are going to have to be on point, because I think if they screw up, they may actually see some. They may lose some people. I think they may actually lose some people this year if they screw up. So I'm really curious to see what they deliver with Black Ops 7, because people just seem underwhelmed with Call of Duty anymore. They seem underwhelmed and just like, it's just routine at this point, You got something exciting like Battlefield 6 that's kind of now taking people's attention away. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting battle. Hanzo says save 50 a month from now. When the PlayStation 6 drops, you'll have more than enough to buy, my bros. That's true. That is true. Gamescom looks like it's going to be another solid show. It does. Yeah, I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm actually more excited for Gamescom this year than I have been in quite a few years, honestly. Jeff Keighley, he's not overhyping it, but just the games that are confirmed to be there already. And Xbox seems to be doing quite a bit at Gamescom this year. They're having like a whole, I don't know, they're not having like a show of their own, but they're having like they're doing like a bunch of developer updates and stuff. So that's cool. I think Metal Gear Solid is one of the games that we're going to get updates from too. You weren't expecting Ghost of Yotei to turn up? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would have been cool to just be surprised by that, but they're forecasting this year's Gamescom will be the biggest one ever organized. Damn, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, well, I mean, it's happening Tuesday. I'll be here. I'll be streaming it. IBG, is it okay to feel that there's a lack of Sony single player releases this generation, or is it unreasonable to think that? Um, I think it depends on what the expectation is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to for me to really say whether that is or is not unreasonable, just because it's like if you ask me, I feel like Sony's had a good amount of single player offerings this generation. Um, do I think it's unreasonable for a person to say, but it would have been nice to get more? No. The only thing that I think treads into unreasonable territory is when people make it sound like Sony hasn't done shit this generation. That to me is unreasonable because it's like I just can't get on with that because I feel like these are not the same people, but it kind of reminds me of people who are like, I'm not even like Ghost of Yote just looks like DLC, bro. And it's like, what? Like, it's a sequel, man. It looks great. I like I'm just saying I don't appreciate when people try to make it seem like if you're excited, if you have enjoyed or are excited for the single player offerings that Sony has dropped, then, you're just wrong because they're bad. It's like, I don't know, man. The only area that I think Sony really dropped the ball in, um, games wise this gen is like and I'll say this, like they should have had more new IP. And when you look at the fact that you remember when Jim Ryan in 2021 he said like 50% of our games in development are new IP. I remember we were so excited about that until we found out that most of those games, not most, but at least like half of those games were live service games. And I tried to take a more positive approach with that, being like, well, that can be a good thing, right? Maybe these live service games will be good. And then you find out that, well, half of them are getting canceled and others are just going to be very unexciting. Um, these are all areas that I do believe Sony does deserve criticism for, and I think it's totally reasonable for somebody to walk away from this gen being like, it was somewhat underwhelming, more underwhelming than I would have expected. I would have expected more. I think that's totally reasonable. But I also encounter a lot of people that feel similar to me, which is like, this gen has been good, dude. Like, it hasn't been perfect. And again, there's always areas that could improve, but it's been a really good gen. And if I were to, um, and I'm sure we will do this at the end of this generation, kind of like reflect on, on the games that I played that Sony released this gen. I'm probably gonna, look back and be like, damn, there was a lot of good games. There's a lot of really good games. But I get it. Some people they're like, bro, where are the games, Sony? Like we, won the two big games a year. We feel like we should be getting four or five. I get it. And that's the reality of like Sony did mismanage with live service. They really mismanaged. And the outcome of that is you're going to get less than you otherwise would have. But that doesn't take away the fact that, man, I really loved God of War Ragnarok. I enjoyed Horizon Forbidden West. Ratchet and Clank and Returnal were awesome. It doesn't take anything away from that. It doesn't take away the fact that the highlight of my year has been Death Stranding alongside what will inevitably be Ghost of Yote as well. Doesn't take away from those things. So it's just about, I think it's just if people want to show up to the table and have that conversation, I just think that they have to be a little bit more fair about it, which is, you don't have to suck Sony off, like, oh my God, everything they do is the best. And if you even dare question them, you're an Xbot. No, that's crazy. But you also don't have to be the opposite of that, which is basically a troll who's like, you don't like PlayStation and you probably don't even own a PlayStation. Why are you even here? Because the criticism that I've seen from actual PS5 owners is not that crazy. The actual, like, you can tell when you're listening to a real PS5 owner who's been playing on their PS5, where they're like, yeah, it's a great console, and I have enjoyed games on it, but Sony does need to improve in these areas, and they need to get it together. Yeah, that's totally fine. They're not sitting here being like, dude, this is the worst generation, and I spit on it, and my God, Sony has just done nothing but shit the bed, and I don't even know why I bought a PlayStation 5. I mean, are there people who feel that way? Maybe. Am I here trying to invalidate how they feel about it? Nah, you could say maybe I am, but it's just because it seems so extreme to me. It's like, dude, there's been so many games. It's like, you're telling me nothing? Nothing's done it for you? Like, you haven't enjoyed anything that they put out this gen? You know? I don't know. So I think, I'll be honest, man. I think that there are a lot of people who they don't really make decisions on their own. They just kind of go with wherever the public is going, like the general perception. I think there are people who absolutely bought into the PS5 generation because they saw the hype surrounding it. And then when they saw that people were kind of like, some people were turning against it, they're like, yeah, yeah, actually, this sucks. And it's just like, I don't know exactly why you were here to begin with, but, I'm sorry to hear that, I guess. I don't know what, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, I understand people who say I've enjoyed it. I understand people who say, could have been better. I just don't understand that people are like, this was trash garbage. Like that's what I don't understand. Where it's like, I feel like I feel like the people who are behaving that way, it's like, just say you don't like PlayStation. Just, it's fine. Like it's fine. Just say you don't like PlayStation and you don't actually want Sony to get better because you don't actually you don't care about what they're doing and you don't care about their studios or their games or their hardware. Just say it. It's fine. I think a lot of people pretend to, like they come from this angle where they basically pretend. It's like the faux concern, right? Where it's like, well, I just want Sony to be better. And it's like, what does that look like to you? And you'll get people that'll be like, well, they gotta make PlayStation Plus like Game Pass. And it's like, that's your reason for being so upset with Sony? Like what you want already exists over on Xbox with Game Pass. Like go enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's like I encounter arguments like that and stuff. And I'm like, I understand to a degree where it's like, okay, you want PlayStation Plus to be like Game Pass, but it's like it's not. It's not going to be. So that's why you hate Sony? It's like, well, Sony's greedy. And I'm like, okay, what corporation isn't? Well, PS5 sucks. It's like, okay. Like I don't know. Like I encounter these people and they're like, well, so, Sony dropped the ball. They just went all in with live service and they canceled all their they just have nothing but canceled games. And I'm like, can you list me the single player games that came out this generation? You know, 0 Point, you're saying where are those tentpole games? Well, I mean, literally, like one of them's coming up, you know? And this is where I just feel like I if you force people to try to be reasonable, they usually walk away from the conversation. Because a reasonable, like if I were to, so if somebody were to say to me, and 0 Point, maybe you're unreasonable, sometimes you are, I don't know. Well, that's the thing. If you're saying I find Yote, to me, Ghost of Yote seems like it's a DLC. My response to that is that's fair, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think if we're trying to see things for what they are, I think most people see it as a viable sequel that looks like it's building upon a lot of the things they enjoyed from Ghost of Tsushima. And I think you're going to see that reflected, and people are going to buy it. It's going to sell well, and I think it's going to review well, and I think people are going to enjoy it. Now, my question to the person who isn't interested in Ghost of Yote is, what is it you're really trying to say? And you know what I think they're really trying to say? I think what they're really trying to say is, I wish instead of seeing a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, we were seeing a new IP, something brand new from Sony. And to that, I say totally reasonable, totally fair. I could get on board with that. Hey, yeah, you know what? Maybe we don't get a Ghost of Yotei sequel. We just get something brand new. I totally get it because some people look at this generation and are like, it's been sequelitis, right? Sequel to Horizon, sequel to Spider Man, sequel to God of War, sequel to Death Stranding, sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. I totally get that. It's like, whoa, whoa, too many sequels. We need more new stuff. And that's fair. But I just don't like it when people treat something like Ghost of Yotei or Death Stranding 2 like, who wants this? Like, this shouldn't even be here. Like this is responsible for making this generation bad. I don't agree with that because it's like, dude, Ghost of Yotei is helping this generation be better. But, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, we do, like, it would be nice to see a couple more new things from Sony. Absolutely. They do need to get on that. The only new IP shouldn't come from live service. But really quick, before I read this direct donation, but I also just got to say, but then you see people shitting their pants. Actually, that could imply something good. You see people getting really pissed off and really upset at Intergalactic. It's like, here's a new fucking IP from Naughty Dog. Everyone's like, boo. That's not what we want. And it's like, it can be frustrating at times because it's like, this is where it's like, I'm pretty sure the person screaming that Intergalactic is going to be trash is the same person that's over here telling me Ghost of Yotei is going to be trash, is the same person that's probably telling me this entire generation has been trash. And it's like, I'm not trying to fight with anybody or be rude, but it's like, maybe you should go somewhere else because it's like, dude, if you can't get excited about the new IP, you can't get excited about the sequel, you can't get excited about the third party, timed exclusive or whatever that Sony's offering. If you can't get excited about any of that, can't get excited about the hardware, then yeah, I don't know that PlayStation's going to be for you, man. I don't know what to I don't maybe you got to go check out PC or go check out what Microsoft's doing or Nintendo or something, cuz I don't understand. I don't understand. I could that part. If somebody said I wanted The Last of Us Part 3 instead, I actually could understand that. That I could understand. If somebody said I wanted Uncharted or Last of Us, I get it because that's where there are people that always want the sequels. I'm one of those people. I love sequels most of the time. Most of the time, I love sequels. But we have a direct donation from Rich Rod. And, well, the Rich Rod tax is now in effect. He dropped the $2 donation, which I will have to read. Rich Rod, you owe 5 memberships, or somebody's going to have to drop 5 memberships on your behalf. The tax is in effect. Okay. Rich Rod says, Colt and Jizz stop having relations in the Dayton, Ohio Public Library staircase. What the F, you damn Roblox offenders. Grow up, you create the Xbox in the LBGT. Did bro just Roblox offenders? Holy shit. What's Rich Rod? Rich Rod, you owe me 5 memberships, bro. That's not a fair argument. Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon, Death Stranding are all new IPs. I can understand God of War as we are at least 8 games into the series, but the rest are new IP. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, people are kind of like, oh, I'm tired of this already after just one game. And it's like, all right. I mean, like, this is where I try to understand. But at the same time, you're kind of correct, right? Where people talk about these series as if they've been around, like they got like 7 installments or some shit. I don't know. Maybe the expectation for Sony was set too high. Maybe it was set too high last generation because Sony had so many new IP. And that maybe set people up thinking like, we're going to get that many new AAA IPs again. Single player. And it's like, well, a lot of that new IP was very successful. Like very, very successful. So we want to really focus on doing some sequels. You know? I'm curious to see. Like I don't know, are these sequels doing as well as the first games? I'm not sure. Some of them seem like they're doing well. Others maybe seem like they're trailing a little bit behind. But um, Perfect Image, you're saying MBG, I'm more excited about the PlayStation console than the titles that Sony produced. My daughter likes horror games. I have to check out horror so I can get her off Roblox. Bro said, I got to get my daughter in the horror game so I can get her off Roblox. Did I hear about the Roblox drama? I did. Yeah. Seems pretty bad, man. Not going to lie. It seems pretty bad. It's a shame. Um, Let me see. It says here on X, Roblox Corporation is currently under scrutiny due to a lawsuit filed by Louisiana's Attorney General Liz Murrill, accusing the game platform of inadequate child safety measures. The legal action has led to a significant drop in Roblox's stock value, with shares declining by up to 10%. The lawsuit highlights concerns over the platform's environment, allowing interactions between children and predators through various games like Public Bathroom Simulator Vibe. Roblox has responded by stating they are committed to user safety but refrained from commenting on the ongoing litigation. Discussions around this issue include community backlash and allegations of the platform being a breeding ground for harmful activities. And in fact, it seems Chris Hansen, yes, that Chris Hansen is now getting involved and will be doing his own investigation. Jesus. Maybe this is necessary, though. If things have really gotten that out of hand, maybe this shit needs to happen. And we have a PlayStation Pete with another $5 chat. Thank you, PlayStation Pete. He says Sony could put games day and date on all devices simultaneously. Consumers like me will stay loyal to Sony due to the platinum trophies. PlayStation Pete's like, you know what, man? Sony, just don't take away my platinums. Let me keep getting my platinums, and I'm good. No, I totally hear that, PlayStation Pete. I have 49 platinum trophies, and that's definitely something I wouldn't want to walk away from either. That would be really hard. In fact, I wouldn't even know. I don't know how I could feel like I could start over after getting so many platinum trophies. So I hear you, PlayStation Pete. Absolutely. Especially after getting that Final Fantasy VII platinum. Chris, you're saying it's actually disgusting. MBG, I feel this is grounds to forward AI-based tools and even ID verification confirmation to be mandated in Roblox. If they did that, then expect all other gaming platforms to enforce that too. Well, it's like the old saying goes, one bad apple ruins them all, right? You might be right. Roblox is it's the bad apple, so to speak, where things just got too out of hand and, bad things were allowed to take place. And yeah, now regulation's going to step in. And it's hard to argue against it in the case of Roblox, right? Because it's like, some of this shit seems like, what the fuck is going on here, But, oh God, my eye. But at the same time, it's like, you don't want to see like you don't want to see some kind of sweeping regulation come through or something like that, because it's like, well, just because Roblox is like this doesn't mean that all other gaming platforms are like this, or live service games. But yeah, I don't know, man. It is pretty concerning overall. They got to figure this shit out. Anybody that doesn't want Roblox to change needs to be investigated. Damn. Yeah, it's bad. I've been hearing stories about that platform for years now, but seeing it kind of like, it seems like it's coming to a head, Like it seems like now something is really gonna change. Something's definitely gonna be done. And I don't think that's a bad thing. At least in the case of Roblox, I don't think it's a bad thing. What it means for the wider gaming landscape and other games remains to be seen. You never been a trophy hunter, Perfect Image? Ghost of Tsushima made you, it gave you the itch to try to collect them. Roblox needs to be banned worldwide, period. Something needs to take Roblox down, bro. Sony's LFG studio will do it. What is wrong with my eye? Fortnite might be next, bro. You never know. I'm all good, bro. Get rid of Fortnite. Get rid of Roblox. Let's cleanse. Let's cleanse. Get rid of the entirety of Xbox. No, just kidding. Cleanse. The gaming industry must be cleansed of its filth. All those battle passes. Gaming survivors are like, whoa, hold on, though. Did you say Fortnite? Let's not get too crazy, MBG. Yeah, Lords of the Fallen 2 is going to be announced at Gamescom. I've been hearing Hell is Us is pretty good. Take out Roblox, but yeah, let's not get too crazy about Fortnite. Not my Fortnite. Not my Fortnite skins. You know how long it took me to collect all these Fortnite skins? You know how much money I put in this game? Cringe night. All right, well, guys, let's do a last call here because I am definitely finished with the topics. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like there's not a lot going on right now. Everybody's just kind of waiting for Gamescom. It definitely feels like the dog days of summer. It feels like at least portion of this portion of August is definitely, things are going slower. Rich Rod, you got another one? Guys, we need 10 memberships. Stat. All right. Do a call-in show? Yeah, I'm sure that'll go well. Rich Rod basically is the call-in. We got Rich Rod with another $2 donation. That's 10 memberships. We get Rich Rod's 10 memberships in the hole. The 50 bomb from Silent Spartan is not in advance. And Prince G says, get rid of West Blocks, West Night, and Westathon, please. Damn, Wes, I didn't know you had your hand in so many of these games. Rich Rod with a $2 direct donation says, if you still game on Xbox, you deserve to lose your console and never game again. If you game on Xbox, you, for a fact, are a cult booty licker. I hope you have sadness forever in your heart, bro. I added that last part. Forever. Rich Rod wants everybody who plays on Xbox to have perpetual sadness in their heart. What, Rich Rod, what is going on, man? Like, Rich Rod, even on days like this, is still so, he's still so against Xbox. He just wants Xbox to die. I don't know, man. I don't know how Rich comes up with it. Rich is calling people booty lickers and stuff. I don't know what's going on. What's Rich doing, man? What's he doing? He should be dropping 10 memberships now. That's what he should be doing. Yo, hold on. This is funny to me though. Rich Rod, you inspired me. I'm not gonna lie. Every time Rich Rod shows up it makes me want to like go look around. Because the thing is, I assume Rich Rod is so upset all the time because he's like reading shit that people are, you know, that some of these people are like posting and shit. And I love how fucking fraudulent they like. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. They're so slimy, dude. They're like, I'm not a console warrior. I'm just a gamer. Mm. Like it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like you're such a pussy ass fraud, man. Like you know the types I'm talking about. They try to play so nice. But they're so passive aggressive. It's like, okay, bro. Sure. Whatever you say, man. Hanzo says he straight up painted war stripes on his PlayStation. Console war ain't ever ending. It's never ending, bro. Holy shit, Rich. Like, dude, look. Look at this. You see this guy, console war is over. PlayStation has bent the knee to Xbox and vice versa. If this bothers you, you like the console war more than the games. Like, dude, you like this more than anybody. You like the console war more than anybody. Get the fuck out of here. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, yeah, man. They're bending, dude. Nobody's bending the knee to anybody. PlayStation's not bending the knee, nor is Xbox. They're fucking making money. They're looking at console warriors and being like, who the fuck are you guys? We're just here to make money. And they're making money. They're making more money than they ever have. I don't know, man. People are funny. So what do we do now that the console war is over? I guess we just talk about the console war being over. Don't catch a strike, Hanzo. Do more Xbot voices. 0 points like, yes, do more voices. Sometimes. I don't know, man. It's because it's all bait. That's the problem. Dude, bro. I'm saying dude and bro too much. You're right. I need to get my act together. Thank you. I needed that. It happens. It happens from time to time. Before you know it, every other word is dude or bro. There's no way you sent another direct. Rich Rod, we are 15 in the hole now, bro. I did it again. I can't stop saying bro and dude. I'm broken. Did you really send another one? You did. Oh, God. Rich Rod. All right. Rich Rod says, okay. Bro, I can't read that one. Rich Rod, you did it. You took it too far. You took it too. I can't read that. Dude, there's so much wrong with that. There's so much wrong with that chat. I'm not reading that, Rich. That one's, yeah, Rich, that one's out of pocket. Reel it in, bro. Make AI read it. No. Rich crossed the line again. Surprise, surprise. He can't help himself. See, I gave in a little bit. I gave in a little bit, and he took the mile. I'm sorry, Rich. I can't. You know what we will do, though? make the robot do. No, bro. Come on, man. You gotta reel it in. It's too much. Look, I don't like these people either, but we gotta, you know, gotta cool it. We gotta cool it. Um, we do need to do reps though. Oh, all right. Hold on. Rich Rod, I misread. I misread it. Okay, I think I can read it. I'm looking at it again. All right. My bad. For some reason, I thought you said something else. Like I read it a certain way, and I was like, bro, there's no way. Okay. Rich Rod says, unless kids disown Colt in the future, they deserve to be homeless and forced to enlist in Somalia's military. Don't be little dipshits for Colt. Like, bro. I mean, I feel like so that could be applied to a lot of stuff. To be honest, that could be applied to a lot. Not, I mean, there's like a lot of content creators and like, you know, just there's a lot of shit out there these days that's like, man, yeah, don't it's not good. It's not good. All right. Um we're getting some reps. We're getting some reps while we stream I owe it to you guys. Come on, guys. 15 memberships. What are we doing? Make me read 3 Rich Rod chats. Rich, I have a question for you. You still going to drop as many donations if I increase the minimum to $5? Hmm? Because I'm thinking about it. Bro ain't going to drop memberships. He could still drop that 5. That's rude. Making me read crazy ass shit. All right, what about $1? $3. Prince, you're saying you would gift 5, but you're on iPad? Well, it's the thought that counts, Prince. An iPhone? Oh, shit. Oh, wow, that's weird. The timing of that. Bro. Drop it to $1. Get the fuck out of here, Rich Rod. Bro's telling me to drop it to $1. That shit is easy to lift, bro. What, 25s? Well, I mean, I'm not trying to make it too hard. I'm not trying to, like, actually do like a grueling workout at the end of the stream. 0 Point, how much you lift, bro? Get the fuck out of here. Man on the Kratos diet. I mean, I'm definitely feeling it. What if they offered a free console if you agree to get a chip inserted into your brain? No way, man. Hey, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Well, guys, I think this might be a good place to wrap up the stream. Uh, We'll roll over those 15 memberships to the next stream. Hold on. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 50 dips every day. I mean, if you're actually doing that every day, yeah, you'll fucking definitely get in shape. Absolutely. Yeah. 0 points in prison. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up today's episode. Prince G's heading to Battlefield 6. Yeah. So not a whole lot of news to talk about, but I do appreciate you guys still showing up and hanging out with me, and definitely want to give a big shout out to Silent Spartan, man. He showed up and dropped 50 membership gifts for you guys, and a couple of you guys dropped singles as well. To anybody who dropped any super chats or direct donations, I really appreciate the support. You guys know I can only do this because you make it possible, so thank you so much. Also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the stream. So if you guys see Devil Shooter in the comments, show him some love, give him some thanks. I know he appreciates it. And yeah, that about wraps it up. So I'm hoping I can stream tomorrow. I'm hoping we'll be able to come back with some regularly scheduled content. It really depends on, if there's going to be anything to talk about or not, because it's really, I mean, at least when it comes to like PlayStation news, it's really like there's nothing going on right now. But luckily, Tuesday we got Gamescom, so whether or not I show up tomorrow remains to be seen. But I will 100% show up for Gamescom on Tuesday. So I hope you guys will hang out with me then. And that's it. So please enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I don't think I'm forgetting anything. No, I think we're good. So, all right, yeah, enjoy the rest of the Battlefield 6 beta. And guys, that's it. I will catch you in the next one. So until then, take care, everyone. Real quick before I go, Dark Cloud, we might do that. Yeah, we might. I'll have to think about it. All right. So just make sure you have notifications turned on. All right, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.